Welcome to a GI Joburg tier list! We're going to be ranking some awesome toys, but doing it with a twist. In those heady days when G.I. Joe, a real American hero toys were still on shelves and not on the internet, we resorted to printed catalogs to see what else was available. We pored over these amazing compilations of exciting toy images and art for hours, quite possibly even longer than we spent playing with the toys themselves. The worlds of possibility that they presented was such an essential part of the collecting experience. Catalogs differed year to year, and also region to region. But for three South African kids growing up in the 90s, no Joe paperwork was more feverishly scrutinized than the 1991 European Catalogue. In this video, we are taking a trip back in time and ranking these toys based purely on how they were presented in that historic document. We couldn't be more excited, and we hope you'll come with us on this epic nostalgia trip. I'm Steve.
I'm Paul.
And this is Rob.
And we're going to kick it off with the figures in this edition of the GI Joburg 1991 European Catalogue tier list. However, gents, before we start on that, does anyone have any opening remarks on the catalogue as a whole?
Absolutely amazing. Like I still remember this kind of like seeing this and hoping we could get all of these toys. And there's just such an incredible selection of stuff. Like, you know, from the sky to space to land. It's absolutely incredible. You just look at it and you're like, whoa, all the stuff can be mine. Maybe.
Dude, for me, it's nostalgia, man. I see the thing and I think of evenings poring over this thing, like having this on the floor and poring over it with David, having this on my bed and poring through it, having this on my mom's bed while she was watching something on TV and poring through this catalog with maybe a GI Joe
toilet,
too,
pouring over it in the back of the car, pouring over it.
I don't think I've ever poured over it in the toilet, but yeah.
Tonight's the night.
I most certainly have. At the risk of weirding out every single person watching this video, I've definitely taken a stack of catalogs to the toilet, and this was definitely on top of the pile. That
Good
pile. But Rob, it's funny you should mention checking out this catalog kind of in anticipation of what we might find at the shops. I distinctly remember sitting on the back seat of my dad's car with you en route to Factory Toys in Barrow East. And we were like, we had hope in our hearts. We were looking at these images and thinking, oh, I wonder what we might find. Like, oh, if we find a Raider, we're definitely going to get the Raider. Or if we find the X19, we're definitely going to get the X19. Like, there was this hope against hope that somehow the toys contained in this pamphlet would magically appear at the shop and be available to buy.
I think
some of them did, didn't they? I mean, the Rolling Thunder, that's where you got it at the Parrot Toy Shop, wasn't it?
Thunderclap.
Thunderclap. Yeah. So that's at least one thing that came off here.
Definitely. The Arctic Blast as well. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's one that thankfully we even had in stores, yeah.
That was as late as 1998. So dreams really do come true.
Okay. No, I remember I remember pining for an Arctic Blast when I was like all of 9 or 10 years old. I wanted one. My friend had one, and then he brought his over to a friend's house, and ultimately I didn't get it. I don't know why. Just for some reason it didn't blow my hair back. But yeah, but we're gonna get into that with this video, I think.
We most certainly are. Absolutely. The tiers that we are going to be using are an S tier for must-have toys, utter perfection, wouldn't change a single thing. The A tier is excellent. B tier, very good. C tier is the indifference category. I think this is where the toy will enter our collections if it happens to be in our crosshairs or if we need it for completion, but we're kind of on the fence about it. We either, we don't have any strong feelings towards it. However, F tier is reserved for toys that we have a very strong feeling towards, a negative feeling towards. Like avoid at all costs, don't like, hate this toy. Hot garbage, put it in the trash, and then set fire to the trash.
I think folks are going to be just as interested in hearing about those as they are about our S-Class must-haves. Like I feel like
that's going to be more interesting.
And I'm not entirely
Why do you
sure
hate
what's
DJ
going
so
to
much?
happen when we have a draw or tie or two people at odds with each other on the spectrum. So we're going to find out together. This is exciting. But we're going to kick things off with numerical order, in fact. Because these figures were numbered on the catalogue, the first figure to appear after the vehicles was none other than Annihilator.
Incredible.
I call upon you, Rob, to say something nice about this figure. Since you
I
him.
own this figure. I absolutely do own this. I think he's a cool design. Obviously, the colors are kind of like weird and clashing. Purple and orange are kind of a bit strange, but it's cool that he's a copter dude, which seems to be a lot of the characters who I assumed were all to do with Destro. I mean, Target, I think, is also somewhere on this catalog as well, and he seems to have an affinity for guys that can fly in the sky, or at least drop from space. I think even though I do own this, I think he's good. So I'll probably give him a B, actually. I think he's decent. He's got a cool weapon, too. I love that backpack.
So
if we can focus on a B tier for Rob, well, okay.
Yeah. But dude, I just wanted to check. B tier, like just for the audience and for the listeners or audience again. So S is like, it's amazing. It was sent to us from the Toy Gods. A is, it's really cool, B is, okay, I'll get it,
No, it's good.
And C
is good.
It's good.
C is like, I'll add it if I see it.
I think, Paul, for you, the dividing line between B and C is B, I'm actively wanting to get this toy. It's not excellent, it's not perfect, but I want it. And C is like, not really.
Okay. And if I've got it already?
Paul, you're just going to have to work this out for yourself. I'm going to give this guy
through time.
I'm going to give this guy a C. Because, well, here's something weird, like that, a misconception that I always had, thanks to this appearance in this catalog, is that I thought that he was wearing a purple unitard over his orange flesh. Look how defined his musculature is. Like, he's wearing spandex in that artwork. It looks like he's spent some time in the tan can, sure. But that looks like his body, his actual flesh. So I had some weird
I'll admit that.
misunderstanding of what this figure actually was. And it's just a weird figure all around. Something got lost in translation here. And particularly the head sculpt is just... In the artwork, it looks like there could be a human head in there. In the toy, not so much. And
it's not as bad as like a Tracker Viper. Or a Track Viper. That thing's head is absolutely tiny. This one, at least you can kind of fit a dude's head in there. But, neither here nor there. C for you, Stephen.
Yeah. So we got a B and a C. Paul, you decide where this guy goes.
I like him. I think he's an A class. How many A's am I allowed to give out?
ABC. This is
limited on that because I had this figure before I had this catalog. In fact, I'd lost most of the accessories for this figure before I had this catalog.
As you do. Well, good. You played with him to death. But the rules of our game is, if we have two opposite ends of the spectrum, the person in the middle has to decide which of those this would rather fit into. So I said C, Rob said B, Paul said A. So Rob, you decide: is he an indifferent figure or is he an excellent figure?
Oh, this is tough. You see, I don't think he's excellent. That's the thing. Like, I'm glad I own him and I do like him, but I think I could actually go. Let's give him a C. I'm sorry, Paul. Like, I do like him a lot, but I could do without him because Stephen brings up good points.
Annihilator, the first figure that will be in the C. It's nice. It sets up a low kind of baseline. We've got room to go.
Annihilated.
It's not an F tier.
Next up, we have Frag Viper. Now, looking at this photograph, I am reminded of the fact that I didn't know what was going on with his left foot. I thought that this was some kind of cloven hoof. Like an alien, like big toe.
He does look very alien with that helmet.
Yeah, he looks alien all around. We learn later, of course, that those are included grenades, which I had no idea he had at the time.
Dropped
So
on
I
the
was
ground.
just looking at this picture thinking, what the hell is that? They also didn't bother to attach his helmet hose. So there are secrets that this figure held that even the toy stylists and photographers didn't cop wise to, or they chose
They
to
took
omit.
the picture just after the grenade fell from the little hook.
I think I lost all those grenades in the car on the way home from Pick and Pay. I'm pretty damn sure of it.
Yeah.
I have no
You couldn't wait to
memory
get
of
into that
thing.
bubble. You tore
Yeah.
it on the back seat and they were gone forever.
Once again, another orange figure, or I mean, kind of like off orange figure. This seems to be like the year, or at least this catalog has a lot of like brown,
Well, it looks that way,
orange
hey.
figures. It really
But it's
does.
brown.
Actually.
It's brown.
It's what do you think it's brown?
Well,
this has always been an interesting design. I think I'll probably give it a B. I'm going.
Yeah,
B
I was
again.
gonna say. I think it's also deserving of a B.
Well, I'll be the dissenting vote and say
art.
that it's more of a C for me. But I did actually seek out this toy and buy it, and only then did I kind of get a slight disappointment. I mean, no, actually, you know what? It is a B. We'll be kind to the Frag Viper. He has fascinating accessories. Like, he's the only grenade trooper who doesn't have a conventional grenade launcher. He's got
love those things.
Yeah, and the file card information is so good at justifying it. It's like it's basically a stealth grenade launcher because you can lob those things and be completely unseen, unheard. Whereas if you have a grenade launcher, it's projectile. It's going to give off a muzzle flare and noise, of course. Anyway, so great. Frag gets a B. And we move on to the next Viper in the line. It's Night Viper.
I think my face gave it away.
You hate it.
Well, let's crack it open with a negative. The gun is always going to be awkward to pose with for an O-ring figure with no wrist articulation.
Trigger. Yeah.
Well, there is a trigger sculpted, but there's no pistol grip.
But like it's
got a rifle grip. The headgear is finicky and I find is
really
not
big.
Properly engineered for those tabs. Unless something has stressed and expanded over time. If you try and fit the mask over those posts today and swivel it up, it will create tension somewhere in the system. That's just my experience with like factory fresh Night Vipers. You will break something. So it's not as perfectly engineered as a figure that will come later in our tier list.
What a cool look for a figure. I mean, green and black, it's perfect, really. And it's cool that the helmet is a separate piece, although it is really big. Like, I would have preferred if it was a little bit smaller.
It was the 80s idea of what night vision looked like.
Yeah, there's that. I feel like I'm going to come out of the gate quite heavy. I'm going to come out of the gate quite hard with this one, though, and give it an A. Because incredible. I did actively seek this figure out as recently as 2020 or 2021 was when I finally got mine. And I love this toy, and I've always had like this weird affinity for the Night Viper because of this catalog. I never saw it. Yeah, I never saw it anywhere when I was a kid. Or at least I don't recall it. I know that if I had, I would have bought it. And I was fascinated by this. I was like, what is going on in the backpack? What interesting things has it got there? And what's with that gun? And like, I always wondered if you could remove the front, like, night vision, like, lens.
See his face.
Because on the art, exactly. Can you see his face? Because it looked like it could open. And what does his face look like? And there was so much mystery with this for me. As a kid, and I remember like seeing the pins on his leg and going, "Oh, what connects there? I wonder if maybe the gun goes there. I don't know." So it is.
Well, on that note, that's the one thing I would oppose with this figure. It's unnecessary and over-designed to mount the gun to his leg when you've already got a strap.
Because it's kind of silly.
It's a toyetic Ginshi thing to have a rifle stuck to your leg. It's a bit of a it's a significant weapon. It's not like a pistol. It's a big thing to have stuck to your leg. I prefer to display my Night Vipers with it slung. So I could actually happily lose those 2 pegs.
They seem to over-design these kind of like Night Viper dudes. I mean, that follow-up one in the modern era with the wings. I mean, like,
Lord, you can't call that Night Viper. That's Jungle Viper.
That's Jungle Viper. I still love
that. The Night Viper colors, but
yeah,
they did do a correct Night Viper eventually. But we're talking about the old school, and the old school gets an A from all of us. I think it's our first.
I would definitely give it an A.
Triple A. Boom.
Absolutely. Because it's just such a cool design. And what a cool name for a Viper. Night Viper.
Night Viper.
It's perfection.
Yeah.
Clearly the top most of the...
Night Viper.
What is it? The Crayola box of Vipers. This is the number 1. Next we have our first Joe. Quite auspiciously, it's Deepsix. Bizarre. A memory I have about Night Viper. It was a prize at the tombola tent, or one of the tombolas, at my local annual fair. I always remember seeing it as a prize, and I was like, "How do I win that? How? A carded Night Viper?"
At these rigged games, they never had to give that away.
Deepsix was famously a toy that was bought as a birthday present and given to my across the road neighbor.
You bought it and gave it to someone else.
Well, my mother bought it for me to give to him as a birthday present.
As our
She's like, this is definitely one you won't want, Stephen.
What, 4 years old, 5 years old?
It's with some irony that kid received Deepsix, who is a ranger, and that kid across the road was probably the most, what's the word?
Ginger-phobic?
He had the reddest hair of any child I knew. He was a Dutchman called Davy. Anyway, Davy got a red-headed figure because he's a red-headed child.
So this picture is confusing because it actually makes it seem like he is underwater. It's like that the entire photo shoot is underwater right now because they've kind of positioned it so that kind of floating bit is actually floating above his head.
Which I think is very accurate.
No, it is, but it's like it makes it seem like the whole photo shoot is underwater. It's like, how is anyone else in the photo shoot surviving right now? Like, he's the only guy getting out of this situation alive. This is definitely a huge improvement over the original Deepsix figure. I mean, that Deepsix figure was made, just to go in the shark. You can't do anything else with them. But it's also very generic. It's literally just a dude in a diving suit. It's a big improvement, and I mean his gun is kind of weird. It's kind of like this weird triangle shaped gun. I would I'd give it a C. I do own it. Well, I own a fun school version of it, but that's just because it was just cool to be able to buy a toy off a shelf.
Actually,
this isn't something that I feel like I have to have in my collection.
Mm-hmm. You own didn't, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Extensive Enterprises Joe send you his as well?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I actually do have more than one. Yeah. So I have an original and I have the fun school
special versions. Yeah.
Shout out to Mauler Joe. This is
I actually know that.
Joe.
Yeah. And it's such a good design.
Intrigued by this photograph because that boy actually looks like it's rigid, like it's not attached to the flexible hose, but actually just it's on a post attached to the backpack. So for the longest time, just because of this catalog, I thought that was some kind of antenna device. It probably is. There probably are transmitters and various safety, like rescue equipment, transponders inside there, and that's its function, to let everyone know where Deepsix is down. But yeah, in this picture, it kind of looks like it might be periscoping, like it might be able to go up.
Yeah,
on like a kind of
it's weird. Pole. It's a weird picture. It kind of gives you a misconception. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's a cool design, but it is very generic. Like, I'm glad I own him. But in the catalog, he would not be a figure that I'd be like, I have to get this guy. I'm 10-year-old me going, I have to have a diving man.
So
I'm sticking with
10-year-old me was like, I miss this toy because this was one of my very first Joes. It's actually debatable whether it was this one or Sci-Fi.
Annihilator.
And I remember like going through this catalog and going, I really miss my Deepsix. Like, what happened to it? You know, because it's a great toy, and I have childhood memories of not remembering which way the backpack goes, like which way was up and down.
It could go anyway.
Well, if you had this catalog, you knew that the knife is supposed to be at the bottom. However, we should not make this catalog gospel. We'll see how they futz other accessories in a little bit. But I'm going to give this guy a C. Never really blew my hair back. It was a very fitting gift for my neighbor.
For me, it's a B because, I mean, I had him.
Well,
yeah.
That's neither here nor there. Your mother could have just given it to you instead of your neighbor.
True. Instead of neighbor.
Exactly.
Just a roll
I
of the
do remember
dice.
choosing it, though. Like, yeah.
So what happens now? Rob, did you say C?
I said C, so 2 C's and a B.
2 C's and a B, which makes it a C. Sorry, Rob.
Makes it a C.
Paul,
Sorry, Rob.
You're the dissenting.
I think also why Paul really loved it is because there's no oceans in Johannesburg. So he was like, "Wow, this guy can go into the lakes. You know, he goes into the Volar Dam. You know, he's kind of
my imagination." Next up, we've got another 1989 Joe, a debutante this time. It's our mortar man called Downtown. Yeah. I always thought that helmet was not properly applied. Little did I know that, yes, actually, that's how the figure wears his helmet. I never liked this figure. Try and change my mind, boys.
He looks very casual. You know, it's like he just throw on a shirt, he's got some pants on, he's like, I'm going to throw some mortars at the bad guys. I'm not going to change your mind, Stephen. I think he's a pretty average figure.
It looks like his lower legs have the same armor as Road Pig. Isn't that ironic? They're completely different sculpts, but it looks like the same shin protection.
On an airplane.
Very similar. I mean, he's definitely something you want in your army, but a mortar launching dude, and his equipment is very detailed and very interesting. But yeah,
that's what I love more than the figure.
Never blew me away either. Blew me away.
You can't make it out in the picture, but he's holding his pistol, his revolver. It's there.
I see that now.
Yeah. And kudos to the stylists and the team responsible for these images because, I mean, you had to have a lot of faith in that thumb to get the mortar round in there. I mean, of course, the plastic was fresh and young back then, but still, like that is a thumb breaker to do that move.
That is impressive. They decided to do that.
They decided to do his card art in
danger.
The toy. Yeah, actually hold the mortar around. Amazing.
Downtown has the distinct pleasure of being one of my worst helmet Joes ever. I hate the headgear because it is gross. It's just like it's got like a very squishy, very knockoff kind of feel to it, and it's just too chunky. It's not right.
It doesn't match like it more than the card art at all.
Yeah. I mean,
I figure that benefited from having a sculpted helmet as opposed to a removable one. Because I mean,
I think that would have been much better.
Whose main guy was Downtown? Nobody's. You don't need that guy.
Okay, guys, I'm on the back lines. You know, I'm not anywhere near the action. I'll be shooting mortars at the bad guys. You guys get in there, and I'll try not.
There's going to be a comment. There's going to be a comment here that's like Downtown.
Downtown's my guy. Well, Downtown fans, drop down in the comments and
tell us how much you love Downtown. How cool he is.
I don't hate him, but
for sure, I don't hate him. I don't think he's the worst figure on the catalog, but I'll definitely give him a C. Like I'm kind of indifferent. I'm just like, I'll add him if I see him. You know, if he's complete.
Bad. I feel so bad because I'm like his accessories are a B, and he's a C. Like, I like he's one of those. I also kind of got him because I was like, I should get him, and then the thing that got me excited about getting my hands on him was the accessory. So,
all right, C tier for Downtown. Does Backblast fare any better?
For me, yeah.
That name. That name almost got me.
My father saw that name on the file card and he was like, "That's very funny." What does it do? He farts on the enemy. I mean, he held nothing back. Good old dad.
You really want the backflash, boy?
Did you have baked beans for breakfast?
The jokes. This guy's a B for me.
Oh,
just
okay.
Yeah, putting it out there. I think Backblast is a fantastic figure. Also, love the army greenness of him. You know, they chose a really good color palette for him. The accessories are a heck of a lot of fun. As a today toy, the accessories are frightening because of what they can do to his hands. But I loved this figure as a kid. Also, lost it before I had this catalog. Well, lost most of it. I think I just had the figure, the two halves of him, and the top part, the missile tubes. But everything else is gone, including the knife.
Well, looking at that picture, I mean, I think Stephen had the figure, and I never knew he came with a little binocular or not.
Oh, monocular.
The range
solocular.
Monocular.
Monocular. There you go. I mean, he's a decent figure overall. I think. I mean, the colors are muted. It's feels very realistic. The accessories are interesting. I'm not sure why he's carrying bullets. Why he has a bullet belt on when he doesn't?
Yeah.
Does he come with a gun? Isn't that weird? Like he has bullets. Is he carrying it for someone else?
Well, we never would have known this as children, but like it is common practice for you to be battle buddy to the machine gunner. So everyone carries a bit of his, bit of extra ammunition for the suppressive fire.
That's absolutely wild.
Okay.
On the back of that comment, Rob, I thought that bullet belt not only didn't belong to Backblast, but actually went to Stalker, Kayak Stalker, version 2 Stalker, as like a skirt that he'd wear to waterproof him
that's
on
hilarious.
his kayak. I didn't even think there were bullets. But that's just a misconception of like having these things as children, because firstly, lost the knife early. The monocular also disappeared. The weapon itself was toast. Both the handles snapped off. One of the kind of the brackets snapped off. I lost all the missiles, and I think I broke them before I lost them. So, no joy either way. So this guy just wound up being a very useful extra. Like if you had a position on the Warthog that needed manning, in you go. He was useful for the Thunderclap because he's essentially a rocket artillery man or anti-aircraft man. So he can load the damn cannon, or he can man one of the weapons positions there. Like there's a missile launcher. He can sit behind the missile launcher, get a real backblast. So yeah, he's very useful. I'm going to, just to distinguish him from Downtown, I'm going to give him a low B.
Interesting. I'd probably go with the B as well. Like I don't feel like I definitely own him, but I think he looks cool, and I think complete he would be very cool to own.
It's Backblast.
Next up, Backblast. Controversial maybe, but Volar.
Wow. See this guy a mile away.
I think I was at the tender age of like 38 when I realized that most Voltars, or a lot of Voltars, a lot of examples that I've encountered, have that little nipple that's on his backpack that's gone. You can faintly make it out in this image, but there's a kind of it's almost like a knob
like
aerial,
antenna almost.
Well, like an old school car locking knob.
Yeah, off his left shoulder.
And that's often snapped off. I finally got a backpack with
syndrome?
Probably, yeah. It's that swirly gold, so it's probably a lot weaker, which is unfortunate because if you're supposed to perch the condor as they've got in this picture, I mean, that was the point of stress immediately. If you clip it on once without supporting it properly, gone. Which is exactly what happened to my childhood Voltar.
Okay.
That bastard.
Mine is, I don't have a childhood Voltar, but my Voltar is still very much intact. It would also take me a very long time to realize that gun in his hand, well, let's put it this way, Star Brigade, had that gun.
It was a gun that they reused a lot, especially in the later 90s.
It's very Cobra, so it was typically on the bad guy weaponry.
And I just remember, like, only like much later realizing, oh, that's the same gun, because as a kid I only ever stared at this catalog, and you don't really get a good profile of the gun, so kind of looks like a
fade
gold
into
tube.
the background.
Yeah.
It's given the kind of impression that he's got his right hand like actually clipped onto the barrel. Like, do you guys get that impression that he's grasping the weapon in both places? It does feel like
that, yeah.
Well, I think I tried to recreate that with my actual one, and that's why it has no barrel.
Oh.
Wow, the barrel died before the thumb did.
Volar is a toy that I burned through pretty quickly. The crotch was toast. I have very, very brief memories of him because I threw him in the bin. Like, once the crotch was gone and the O-ring had snapped, like,
his crotch was
that's it.
Into the
that's tragic.
I actually threw him away. I still have my old Condor, and I made a custom out of the gun. I painted it black and red and gave it to a custom Crimson Guard, which was actually a Mega Viper. More on that later.
So he was useful when he wasn't there. Interesting.
Exactly.
What did you do with the Condor?
Still footless in a bag in my drawer. And I've just found, this comes back to the story of me just getting the backpack with the knob. That same backpack that I found has a set of feet clipped on. The Condor is not there, but the feet are still there. So I'm like, so my childhood Condor will have feet again. Yes.
That is absolutely cool. Wild.
Yeah.
So
I'm saying Condor, but I'm sure it's a vulture. Anyway, sorry.
Probably a vulture. I'm not blown away by the design. Like, he looks cool. I love that he's kind of like one-eyed. He's like kind of some sort of sci-fi pirate. But the pink to me is kind of like off-putting. Like, I think if he was more red, like in the
artwork,
I think he'd be much cooler. And his gun is gold. I don't know. It's just like. Ugh. It's cool that it matches his outfit, but there's a little too much gold. He's too obsessed with gold.
All right.
I'd probably get to see. Like, I'm very indifferent about this guy. Like, I don't feel like I need to own a Volar ever.
I'll give him a B, which makes Paul the swing vote.
For me,
unless he gives it an S, he absolutely loves Volar.
No, I mean, I like Volar. I just don't know if it's a B. I'm trying to work out, should it be a B or a C? I don't know.
C it is.
I feel like it's a C. No, but like, there's a good reason for it. Like, Volar is a figure I would seek out for my collection. It's not even as a kid, I always looked at Volar and I was like, I'm curious to see what's going on there, but it's only adult me appreciates Volar more now. So it's kind of a C, and it's because I picked him up, you know? Like, he became more interesting once I had him. So, it's a C.
Back to the Joes with Charbroil.
Whoa. What is going on in that photo? They could not get that helmet on his head properly.
If you do not comply, there will be trouble.
It's nerve-wracking. And I'll tell you why. This is also a swirly metallic plastic. So, putting that helmet... And it is a snug fit. And it's very, very rigid plastic. It's not gummy at all. So a hard plastic head and hard accessory, but
this is like the promotional material, you know, like you can just grab another one, like just put the helmet on properly. It's just it's funny that they just didn't put it on properly.
Yep, they're not doing him any favors. And
maybe they were trying to.
If you're working with open flame, it would be useful to not have your flesh exposed like that.
I think the idea here was to just sell that you can remove the helmet. Because I don't think it was that obvious. Yeah. It's a very small helmet, so if it's on his head, it does actually look like it's his head sculpt and not a helmet. So maybe somebody in the art department was like,
So I
feel it's very intentional.
Properly.
Yeah. I feel it because it has got it looks intentional to me. That pipe always fascinated me, though. As a kid, my childhood mind was like, "Is so that unique. Because I had this? No, I didn't have this. I wanted this toy, and I kept thinking, like conduit pipe. I thought it was like conduit pipe or like a pool pipe. So I thought like they had done like a really miniature version of that, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing! Toys are from the freaking future, man." My 8-year-old brain. No,
I
even
will
younger.
clean your pool.
Yeah.
With fire.
It's puzzling to me that they made a thing out of that pipe. I guess they were like, he's coming up a little light in the accessory count. Gun, helmet, backpack. What is this, 1983? So they're like, we got to give him an extra piece. Let's make the pipe not just our regular black hose, but like its own thing. And man, does that make this figure a ball ache now? Like my childhood one still is lacking his pipe because I just can't bring myself to buy it on the aftermarket. Like, go out of my way to get this damn pipe.
I'm so fortunate.
But he looks like fun,
Okay.
Oh, he totally. I think he totally is. He's great.
Roasting bad guys is your kind of fun. Yeah,
absolutely.
I love the smell of burnt hair and flesh in the morning.
Look, the card art is fantastic. What an amazing artistic rendition to have the intensity of the eyes behind those goggles. Made you wish that the action figure had translucent plastic up there.
Yeah,
but and as we said before, that helmet is way, way tight. There's no space.
The chest is also better sculpted in the artwork than on the actual figure. On the
figure, there's shading to it.
Fabric.
The details disappear on the silver. The artwork actually brings out those details. Makes it a little bit more... But the artwork
also... Oh, sorry, dude.
I was trailing off anyway. It just gives it more depth.
Because I feel the artwork is more edged. It's got like a more defined shape, whereas the toy is more rounded and more...
Yeah, just feels like a top that he's put on.
What's the driver of the Persuader? I can never remember that figure's name. Backstop. It's kind of like how Backstop's armor has kind of got those hard edges. That's what it feels like the toy should have been. And we got something that's a lot more sci-fi kibbly. Also, this toy is remarkably similar to Forlom in his design as well.
With the
the head, yeah, kind of
beady eyes.
I mean, they're kind of like insect look.
He's gonna be
I always thought he had an insect look. Always, even now, I still think he looks like a bug. Very common rider.
I'm gonna put him in the C tier. I think I'm gonna be unanimous here. Hey, gents.
Oh no, I'm B. I went out to go and get a Chopro.
I think he's kind of like an average looking figure, I'd probably actually give him a C. It's not something that I would actively seek out to find and add to my collection.
And Paul, you say you actively went out to get a Charbroil. Well, yes and no. I got you that Charbroil.
Yeah, thank you, bro. But I mean, I did want one. I was on a mission to get one. So
he actively appreciated that you got it for him.
I'm very happy you got me one.
Budo. Another unfortunate helmet application. They really could have snapped that a bit further down.
That's a mess up. That's a mess up. I'm damn sure that is.
And didn't really sell me the figure, I'm afraid. As a result, this is a C tier figure all day for me, in spite of excellent accessories.
He feels out of place. He feels like he doesn't actually belong in GI Joe. He's too authentic to the theme that he's going for. Like he's cosplaying, being like a samurai type warrior guy, more than he is an actual samurai warrior guy.
Yeah.
So I was always interested in what are those two silver things in his hand when I was a kid, because I could never figure out if they were meant to be daggers or sai or swords. That like had my interest for a while, and also a samurai that always got my attention as a kid. But I agree with you guys. It's a C tier figure that I feel I've grown to love because I have one. So,
the Fun School version is nice.
Well, the Fun School version has the distinction of swapping the colors in a more logical way. Like the backpack-mounted sword is in silver on the Fun School, and the sheathed sword is in red.
Red. It makes more sense, and you can see it more clearly.
Yeah, if those guys at Fun School India knew what they were doing, they were like, actually, let's swap these colors. I'd like to think they did it deliberately. It wasn't some happy accident.
No, for sure they did it on purpose.
Also, Budo is in the C.
Yeah.
Also, in this shot, they very purposefully avoided showing the sheathed sword.
The red one, I mean, hindsight being what it is, we know that the red one is that thing poking out behind his helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one that's attached to the hip, we can't clearly make out that he's got that little hip
little hook
penis.
I wonder if that was
dick.
not intentional. I feel like that could have been one of those. They were scared of putting it there because they were worried that kids would think that you could pull a sword out of that and that it was going to get them into trouble, or that maybe it would communicate badly. I wonder that, but then I have seen other catalogs that have that hanging on him, unless of course I'm having a Mandela
thematically
effect.
It's a cool accessory, but it's a useless accessory because it will always be sheathed. It's basically it's just to hang on him so he looks more authentic. But yeah, definitely a C.
That said, that red sword is awesome. The cool one.
The fun school one.
Anyway.
Oh.
Well, the sword, the sculpt of the sword is great.
The silver fun school one.
Silver fun school. Okay,
that's awesomer.
No.
Anyway, moving on, guys. Oh, yeah, it's not clear what his other weapon is. Like, I wish they'd kind of given it a side profile, because that's a head scratcher. But what is also a head scratcher is boogie boarding on the sand. I give you muskrat.
Wow. This is years before sandboarding was a thing.
Actually, you know what? This is probably the birth of sandboarding. Bravo, muskrat.
Yeah.
Sandboarding with a machete.
Even though it's meant to be swamp boarding.
Which also never made sense to me. I'm like, this is weird.
It's a good way to die.
Like, even as a 5-year-old, I thought, this is weird. Do not like.
I just thought it was like a really ugly backpack. It's like, ugh, it's an ugly backpack.
It's really flat for a backpack, though. I mean, he's putting absolutely nothing in there. It's like a back shield. It's like if people are shooting him. This is what he does when he's running away. He puts the back shield on.
I was like, why does he have a boogie board? No, I only appreciated this figure later.
The figure is excellently sculpted. He's got amazing details. Could have done with maybe one extra color. There's just like
that would have been cool.
There's something a bit too budget about an entirely green figure with black accents. Like another color would have just given him a bit more depth. And I know the boots have brown to them. Maybe that same brown could have been used on the knife sheath or the pistol
knife sheath or something at the top there, to make him look a little more interesting. But yeah, I think overall he's a decent figure. He's got a machete that's pretty cool. His gun is decent as well. Although, is it a shotgun? I mean, the picture makes it look like a shotgun.
Yeah,
I can't tell from the photograph.
This was the shotgun that would be trotted out to death in the weapons tree era.
Like the worst shotgun, in my opinion.
It's not. No, I think it's the best. But unfortunately, it's overplayed. Like, it's better than Falcon's shotgun in that it's got a logical pistol grip.
Yeah.
Whereas Falcon's has like a kind of additional pistol grip.
Yeah, that's also lame.
It is. Well, in hindsight, because the Falcon shotgun was only used for Falcon and didn't get trotted out on weapons trees, I find that's the superior gun now in my mind. I devalue this one. But back in 88, 89, and 91, when this was, in Europe, that was the shotgun, as far as I'm concerned. It was beefy.
I feel it's it's beefy.
Well, its competition was only Falcons and Flints to that point, if my memory serves. And I think this is the best of the lot. I think it's our opinions now that color it as like the weakest. But back then, it was a good
as a kid, I hated that I couldn't put the butt behind his wrist properly. I was always scared of, well, not on him, but on any Joe. I was always scared of putting the butt here. And so it always looked a bit funny. And also, as a kid, I'd seen Terminator 2. So Terminator 2 had colored how I see shotguns.
You wanted the Winchester.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. That's the vibe. That was shotgun for me. Yeah.
Well, we had no compunctions about putting the butt behind their bicep, so advantage Cape Town.
I didn't think it was specifically the shotgun that made me scared of that. Yeah, for me, it's also a C tier. It's a No, I think it's a B tier. Sorry, I'm gonna go back on that. I know I'm like straddling the middle here a lot, but the thing is, it's when you get this figure, you will be like amazed because it's a really well designed, very sensibly, thought out military figure that has a very strange accessory. He looks like a Vietnam dude. He's got that vibe to him.
He definitely does.
Flak vest and nothing underneath. Totally.
Yeah, he's
Apocalypse
crazy.
Now, man.
Probably very like
oh my goodness.
Before when you could probably get tons of these, you probably find that somebody used this as a Snake Eyes to make a Snake Eyes custom, like a Vietnam Snake Eyes custom.
Very good. The boonie hat, of course. Rob, what were you going to say? Because I think I'm about to change my tune.
Well, I mean, BC. I think it's overall it's a cool figure, but I think what makes it is that is what you can do with him with other accessories that you have. Like you add a cool backpack to him. You get rid of the boogie board. So he's a pretty decent, like, average figure. That I think you can definitely add to your collection, but he's not standout. Damn, I don't know.
Well, I'll make it easy for you. I'm upgrading to a B.
Whoa. Okay then. Well, there you go.
BBC.
Big bad.
Like the team.
This guy, however, Spearhead and Max, these guys.
Hey guys, hold it. I have a big helmet. I put it on my head.
The tan is way too close to his skin tone, and the helmet is oversized, and the gladius
some sort of
is a weird inclusion, and the gun is strange. Like, and the boots are weird. Like, I'd love to see the design influences for this guy, like just broken down. I might appreciate him more that way. But as he stands, he's a hodgepodge mess with camouflage that is best suited to life on Mars. So,
or Burning Man.
Yeah, I'm gonna
call it, guys, F.
F. Gosh.
Yeah. I really hate this toy.
Steve was just about to say C, but I was like, okay, I'll give it an F too.
No.
Like
Bennett. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's make a hard stance against this guy.
I'm so glad I got Spearhead and Max in that lot of GI Joes that I bought, because this would be a very hard figure for me to get excited about now to try and buy.
Once again, guys, if you are shouting at your TV sets and mobile phones at this point,
Max are the best.
Drop down into the comments and show some.
Tell us in the comments.
I'd love to read it.
Tell us how much you love this guy.
Tell us why you love its dropped shoulders. Freaky.
I just saw that.
We're moving on to a Cobra figure. It's Target. Now, this was marketed, as far as I'm concerned, as Cobra, because Iron Grenadiers didn't have the same kind of marketing push in Europe and other territories as it did in the United States. However, his card did have that.
It says Destro.
It does, but
right there.
We didn't get the kind of the same livery. Anyway, the explosion was blue and purple, and that was intriguing. But based purely on this card art snippet, this portrait, and the action figure, there's a disconnect. What's happening with the artwork is that we see the character's face, or at least his eyes. And then Targat himself looks like a robot. In fact, as I recall, Rob, you used this as a Terminator stand-in.
Oh, absolutely. He was a lot of fun to be as a Terminator. But yeah, it is very different. Like in the card art, it looks like he has a gold thing that kind of slides down, while the figure itself is this big blue thing that actually literally covers his
over a gold
helmet.
Yeah.
With the blast shield down, I can't see a thing. How am I supposed to fly?
Exactly.
Well, as we learned later, it's for re-entry and dealing with the kind of the friction heat, I guess, he would encounter.
Which comes across better in the figure. I mean, the figure is really cool. He has the blast shield that comes down. He's very padded in the front, which I think adds to his kind of protection that he needs when he does re-enter. I think for what it is, and that the accessory is awesome. The detailing is great. It's got little wings that pop out. I've always enjoyed this
stitching on his uniform.
Yeah,
like the stitches are enormous.
It's made of leather, crazy leather. You know,
that does track though, because I think the old spacesuits had that as part of the inner suit, or there was some kind of G suit that was made in the 70s that had that kind of stitching. But guys, Also, for me, this is an S-class figure.
Whoa, our first S. Will we back you up on it?
I mean, amazing accessories. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
I
Rob.
absolutely agree with that, actually. I definitely give it an S. I'm sorry for anyone who doesn't like this guy. I think he's awesome. I think the minute I saw him on the shelf, I was like, I have to own this figure. He's fun to play with. And as we've seen in some of our play motions, he's just fun to fly around. You have a whole squad of these guys. It makes for a very cool play style. Kind of like launch them from a spacecraft or like a low,
so creepy looking,
low space thing, and like they come down at you. He's a lot of fun to play with. Very unique accessories.
I'm not going to piss on your parade, guys. Target can be an S tier figure for the both of you, but as my dissenting opinion, I'm indifferent about this figure. I still haven't picked one up. Yeah,
you really haven't.
What?
You should though.
No,
I am shocked.
We're the people in the comments, Paul. We're like, Steven, why don't you like this guy?
So I would put him on the C tier myself. Interesting, but not a must-have for me. And isn't it interesting? Like for the longest time, I thought he came with a sword, judging by this image. Because the way the joystick and the hose looks like it's been crimped, so it's kind of it's a sword or a whip. I was like, is it a sword?
I always thought it was a whip.
Yeah.
And then I remember, like, as a kid, I remember thinking, like, oh, that was meant to be a whip. Because I had the toy before the catalog. I had the toy, lost the toy, and I had the backpack still before I got this catalog.
Rob, I have a great story to tell about that joystick. Or that control column, whatever you want to call it. And that's the fact that you had that misassigned to Hugh Borg, your Playmates figure, Star Trek figure.
Oh.
It was in a baggie with him. Like, you thought that was one of the Borg's accessories. And I was like,
that's right.
I've seen pictures of this online on this fabulous website called yojo.com. And it actually goes to Target. Dude, you've had this hard-to-find little piece all this time.
I think, I got the figure, I threw away the packaging, and I never saw him, I never knew all those years of owning him that was meant to go in his hand. And I think it gun disappeared.
It didn't come with printed accessory, it didn't come with any instructions, if I recall correctly. So we didn't know what that joystick was meant to do. And yes, you lost the gold gun. I found that at Deer Hunter, as I recall. And I was like, yes, we can complete Rob's Target at long last. So I'll never have to buy him. Anyways, this is an S-class figure. Bravo, boys.
GI Joburg says so.
Oh, the hits just keep coming. Have I showed my hand?
Thick and fast. S,
I think you have.
all round.
S all round. Phantom Viper is great. Yeah.
He's bombastic, awesome, well equipped.
How weird is that gun looking in this picture? I thought it was some kind of claw thing.
It does look like a claw.
And there's a different catalog that actually would clue me into how awesome that gun was. But my story with this figure was I was always like fascinated by the visor because, they show him like this, right? So I was always like, I wonder if it closes like that, because I remember seeing another picture where it was sort of over his face like this and thinking, was something wrong in the picture? Is he meant to be like this? Is he meant to be like that? The eternal question with the alley vipers. And that had me, like, I was fascinated about this. Then I thought the shield was just incredible. It's like this insanely good thing, like a GI Joe toy with a shield. I thought was insane. And then I think somewhere in my childhood brain, I had somehow oh yes, that's right. When you look at the backpack, I remember thinking, oh cool, it comes with a crossbow. So
But Alley Viper, I think is perfect. I mean, he's well themed. His accessories all support the theme of his function, and even the wild coloring is still very cool. Weirdly.
I was waiting for someone to address that. So yes, it even doesn't offend. I'd say, just because I'm curious as to what it would look like if things had played out differently in history, and we got orange and purple, as with the card art, instead of orange and blue. Like, that purple in the card art looks delicious. It's Fanta orange and Fanta grape in one flavor.
That would have been a crazy combo.
Amazing. It's Fanta. I actually don't think I should say that word on air.
For a lot of these figures, this amazing catalog was my first port of call. But in the case of the Alley Viper, I encountered this first at preschool in line. For some reason, we were lining up at the end of the day, and a kid behind me, out of his pocket, produced Alley Viper. No accessories, just the figure. And the most mind-blowing thing for my 4-year-old brain at the time, he could flip that visor up. I was obsessed. I just had to just mess with this over, and I was like, this is amazing. How can something this small do that?
But I'm there with you, man. That blew my mind. I was like, it does this. Wow.
I mean, if you compare that to like a Star Wars figure,
does this, and this does this. In my brain,
the crap that I had cluttering my house to that point, thanks to my older brother, was like Secret Wars, Star Wars, a couple of Micronauts. This was the next level.
This is what a real toy is about.
All the way. Next, we have a Survivor, holdover from the BF2K. Dodger.
Look at this guy.
I'm amused at the fact that the translation calls him Guchem. Astus. We used to love sending up the various language translations.
It's the best. It's absolutely hilarious to see the different names that they came up with in other languages for these characters.
Gucci. The one that sticks with me is Captain Rugby as Captain Gridiron. Captain Rugby.
Here's a really good case of the card art or the artwork betraying the design of the figure. So I remember when I saw this, I just thought,
Corporal Hicks
as a kid. Yeah, but I didn't even see him as Corporal Hicks because I don't know what it is. It was just my brain never made that connection until much later. In fact, actually, that my brain made that connection on the podcast. That's when he went from being like an F figure to being an A figure for me.
Wow, because of that association.
Yeah. And because now when I see it, I'm like, actually, he's a freaking space marine, and he looks like he belongs in Aliens. Totally,
he is a space marine, but like the design is just like he's bare armed. He's wearing like a little Aquaman, chainmail suit here. He's got like guns all over him because a little camera on him. It's a very
that looks lame in the picture, totally. But the toy doesn't feel like that. The toy feels completely different. The artwork really betrays this toy. It's
the picture looks interesting, but I don't like that gun. I think it's interesting design, but I love him to actually have sleeves. It kind of on the one arm, maybe it's the printing of the picture, but it looks like he has like goose pimples on his arm. Can you see that on his left arm? It looks like it, doesn't it? It's like
it's just dot gain from the printing. But yes, I see where you're coming from.
I know that's what it is, but yeah, well, I'm glad you like it, but I mean, I wouldn't throw this in the bin, but I'm indifferent about it. I give this a C. It's not something that I would want to like actively add to my collection. Even though, yes, he does look like Corporal Hicks.
And this toy is magic.
Okay. Enough magic for you to put it in the A category, Paul?
For me, yes. Because I went from like not giving a shit about this figure to actively going out of my way to try and get one of these.
So then I need to decide which it will be, an A or a C, because I'm not going to moderate. I'm going to. This is what happens when we have two of you pulling in opposite directions. One of us has to decide: is this an excellent figure, or is this indifferent?
He's got cool pants, I guess.
He's the best of the BF2K. The gun sucks, kind of. The sculpting is top notch, though. It really is. This is the 80s idea of what future warfare would be. So nobody needs sleeves. Come on, man. It's the James Cameron understanding of like military uniforms. You're just going to take a hodgepodge of different things. Yeah, Paul, I'm going to side with you this time. This time, Dodger
This time.
he joins the Night Viper on the A tier. How did this happen? I guess C's just looking a little bit too dense at the moment. So Dodger
Maybe.
escapes.
He dodges the dustbin.
He's an excellent figure, according to us. Today. Might change tomorrow. Lightfoot, boys. Oh, another victim of helmet not being pushed down its
I'm starting to think it is what Paul said. You know, they're not trying to push the helmet all the way down because they want you to see that it is a helmet. I mean, they've done that with the Alley Viper. They've done that with Target, Charbroil, and now with Lightfoot. They really want you to know that the helmet is removable.
And they really want you to see the lenticular on the droid because we learn now that it's supposed to be facing the other way.
Yeah.
Like if it's going forward, the lenticular should face the operator.
I also lost this figure before I had this catalog. Yes, I played these toys cuck dead. Man.
Rough, dude. Rough.
But I had I had the robot.
Did it still have the lenticular?
It did actually, and I think this catalog sort of informed me on how I was supposed to play with this toy. I was like, oh, I've had it the wrong. Well, not that I ever had it the right way around, because I saw a screen. I was like, the screen goes that way. That makes no sense. But
it does make sense for some reason. Like he doesn't have to see it, but the lenticular has to be at the front for it to see.
Yeah, but I feel like such an idiot for like not knowing that, because it's such a good idea. Actually, it elevates this toy.
I like that the catalog has a lot of figures that have very specialist niches, within the army. He's obviously like the bomb diffusal guy. We have a rocket launcher dude. We have a mortar dude. And yeah, he's a very unique design. I mean, very yellow. He's very much like a lemon meringue character. The helmet is weird, but he kind of feels like he should be in Mask. I've always thought that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like he's something to do with Mask.
What a signature helmet. Yeah, I chucked all the accessories. The helmet was just the best. That's all you needed to elevate this figure. But then when I lost that helmet, boy oh boy, this guy just stayed in the toy box.
Doesn't he look like he's doing road work in the artwork?
He does, but they've broken the toy, so he can't actually do anything. He's just standing there holding his little exercise thing.
Guys, I feel like this is a B.
Interesting. Yeah. You think he's good?
Yeah, I think he's good, and I think he's very valuable in your collection in terms of just what he is. He's a very interesting figure.
I'm gonna give him a B too.
I'd actually probably agree with that.
Lightfoot.
So Lightfoot is a B. One thing I've got to point out, because we have the different languages here, he is a Lightfoot in English. He's a Luchtfoot in German, I'm guessing. But his specialty is TNT in Spanish.
TNT.
This is the opposite of what he does.
I think this is a Dutch catalog. So it's got several languages. I think it's got German and Dutch and.
Okay. But TNT is like the opposite of his specialty. He's like, I'm laying the mines. I'm not.
Maybe he's dynamite in bed or something. Chris McLeod, he's the specialist on this character. We should ask him.
Moving on, gents. This is our, apart from Dodger and the Iron Grenadiers, this is our first official sub-team on this catalog. It's Sky Patrol. We kick things off with Airborne, who I'm going to say there was a disconnect for me when I saw this in the catalog because his body armor in the art looks green to my eye. Okay. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, it does look green.
Like a greenish tint to it, yeah. More
context is everything. But the lighting is yellow, so it's going to look green. Well, it probably is green. It's probably like the artist probably really used green for that. So,
like an olivey green. But yeah, he doesn't look like...
Instead of using grey, because grey would have looked dead. So even on the helmet, which is meant to be silver, there's blue used to create that the shadow, the and secondary
lots
reflector.
Of white. I think it would have been weird if his artwork body armor was colored the same as the helmet. This isn't Super
It
Trooper.
did look really strange.
But then if you look at the photograph of the figure, you can't see the eyes. He's silver. Is this the same? As a child, I was like, the art isn't the same as the figure. This is a different figure that they've got an artwork of.
And the figure goggles look like something like Cyclops' visor. At least they did to my eye.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looked more interesting. And the toy looks more attractive. Now in this case, it looks like they did put the helmets on the whole way. So I don't know what that is about. Also, yeah. Rob?
It kind of undermines your point from earlier then, Paul.
It does.
They push the helmets down on all of these guys.
It's the exception that proves the rule, I think.
There are as many exceptions as there are rules then, because all of these guys have their helmets pushed down. I want to just say that for me, I have never bothered to pick up any of the Sky Patrol guys. I will never pick up any of the Sky Patrol guys, so this whole range is
C for you.
C tier.
Incredible.
Okay. Save us some time here by just saying that.
Absolutely
I'm B tier because I'm actively pursuing an airborne and also a keep wanting to call him Skymate for some stupid reason. But the one in blue,
I'm sure we'll see him very soon.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I would actually he's a B because I think he looks the part. I think his coloring is pretty decent. And I like the little details of the camera on it as well. I think he's a cool figure. I think I would definitely go. I'd definitely try and add him to my collection.
Dudes, I like all of the Sky Patrol guys because I have
even this guy.
They're my current sub team. Them and the Mega Marines are the current sub team. I'm pursuing them now.
Mitrailleur. Do you want to add Mitrailleur to your collection?
I don't have to. I've got him already. I've got drops.
Oh goodness! I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just don't have his cool helmet. This is the problem. And also major discrepancy like between the card art and the toy, because the toys, to my eye, the toy's helmet looks much cooler than the helmet used in the card art.
I don't know. I think the toy version looks like he's wearing a muzzle. It's like he's being muzzled, and you're going to pull this down, and then like he cannot talk, and he will not be able to see either. I'd actually go
Formula One helmet.
And I'm going to have to agree with Stephen on this one. He also doesn't look like a Sky Trooper to me. Like he looks like he should be on a football field with that color.
Or a stun.
Yeah, or a stun. So I unfortunately have to say C for this guy.
The art, the photograph of the picture always made him look quite portly to me. It's just an unflatteringly like pale color, so it really kind of pushes out. So
it's all like
he's a little fat man.
He's got a tummy.
Score.
But yeah, now that you mention it, the disconnect between the artwork and the figure picture, you know, he's got a motorcycle helmet, so you can't see the mouth with the figure. But in the artwork, you've got a full portrait beneath a translucent helmet. It's a lot of liberty.
It's very different. I like the coloring in the artwork. Like if he didn't have that white shirt or that kind of like light colored shirt, he'd look a lot better.
But that puts Drop Zone in the C category. Hee.
Yeah, let's go with that. Because it's 2 C's and a B. Cool.
Next up, I believe this is the leader of Sky Patrol, if I gave a shit. Skydive. Veteran.
Veteran.
And this is the best
name of all. Luchtpirat.
He's an air pirate.
So full disclosure on Skydive here, on old Skydive. This was the only Sky Patrol figure I had any experience with as a kid until I got Static Line. And I only cared about this toy when I got Static Line. And now he's also on my list of things to get, but he is a C for me because I am actively pursuing it, but I'm like, not a figure I love.
Weirdly enough, I would go with a B. I mean, he's going in C, but I think I'd give him a B. I like the consistent blue coloring. The helmet isn't offensive. You know, it's just on his head. His accessories are kind of cool too. Yeah, I like him more than the previous guy, whatever his name was.
There's also an internal disagreement amongst the Sky Patrol guys, and I'm just able to name it now, but it's something that played with my mind as a child. So, with guys like Drop Zone, you've got fully enclosed faces. They could have oxygen supplies, so they're jumping from high altitudes. Whereas skydive and airborne, these guys have no oxygen hookups, so they can't
you're
be
dropping these
jumping
guys
from
at different heights.
Like, I love the fact that they've got unique heads and helmets. It does add something to what it would otherwise just be a team of repaints. That and the practical foil parachutes, if you like that sort of thing, made these guys a cut above Tiger Force, Python Patrol, etc. But they don't really know how to integrate themselves in the story. They don't have a paratrooper transport. They don't have a plane they can jump out of, and they also don't all have masks. So,
it's so true. They don't have a plane they can jump out of. They have a plane.
But since I now have a fetish for shipwreck, this guy being called Luchtpiraat or Sky Pirate, Air Pirate,
Sky
makes
Pirate.
him the shipwreck of the team, and he's even got the stash. So he's got a lot of character.
So it's got a
Hell
small
yeah.
head. It bugs me.
Airway,
there's another
with his
one.
Knight helmet. The artwork has a lot of
Also-
character because he's clearly ripped that helmet off for some reason.
Yeah, he
The
doesn't
gun
need it.
has a lot of character.
Good lord.
Yeah,
does
this
this go?
is for me. This was an A because I really love this figure. Like, he's a cool toy. Also, I wish I had the helmet. He's great,
He
and I
looks
also love that
interesting.
gun.
He's got those cool, like really crotch high leather boots on.
Very sick.
He's going out in the town. The helmet. He's probably
Probably
the second
intended
most
to be like a
interesting guy.
G suit, Rob. It's
Yeah, for sure. But it looks like
forcing
really,
the blood
like,
flow
leather.
out of your legs into the rest of your organs.
It's date night.
Assless chaps. Yeah.
I would probably give him a C. Unfortunately,
Young
I'm like the gun is off-putting. Like, it's just too weird. It's like a double-barreled thing with these giant magazines underneath. Like, I don't understand it. The coloring is cool though. It's inoffensive, but he's on the wrong frequency for me.
Sweezer? Static line. This
Parasite.
artwork made me think that he was white. I thought that he was not a black guy.
Me too.
So bizarre.
That is
This artwork
unfortunate.
also made me
The
think that
artwork.
his visor did this, like a Lego man, like a Lego character.
It does
I
feel
was
it
like,
does
oh
look
wow, that'd be so cool. And then the toy, yeah, no, doesn't do that.
So the visor doesn't lift.
No,
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's
Yep.
unfortunate. He
this was
looks
the
cool.
only Sky Patrol we could find that I found in South Africa was a static line. I remember
He
getting him.
corroborate.
really cool. He looks awesome.
like it, Rob?
Basically, yeah.
I think, yeah, I'd probably give him like a B. I'd probably just, yeah. I think he looks awesome. The gun is confusing though. I don't know if it is that a gun. Is he just holding like a big tray?
It's a gun.
in front of-
It's a gun. It's like a gun tray thing. It's actually,
And
you know what?
The central pistol can disconnect
removable.
and be a separate
Oh,
weapon.
interesting. Okay.
Extra
Yeah.
points there.
He's a high B. He's
He
really
is
cool.
very interesting. And for me, Backstop will, in my mind, now that Backstop to me is a repaint of Static Line. Static Line's not a Backstop repaint because this is the first time I encountered this mold.
And it's
Parasite.
far more attractive in these colors. Backstop has
yeah.
the weird marriage of yellow pants to a green upper. You know, it's like
With
those
that
pants are
grey,
incongruous. This kind of ties it all together much more logically.
And I think the blue and the silver is nice because it feeds in with the other guy, Skydive. I think the blues suit a Sky Patrol sub team because
You can make a mini
they're all
sub team
blue.
out of the sub team with the guys that
Yeah.
have similar colors. So it would be Static Line, it would be Skydive, and it would probably also include Airborne. The
You could
figure,
probably
not
put
the
him in there
artwork.
too.
Static Line currently occupies my Sky Shark. So
Perfect. Perfect.
The only
All
problem
right.
with putting those three together is that yes, one of them has a high altitude helmet while the other two don't.
And
They're
he's
still
incidentally the one in your
inconsistent.
vehicle. Now, the final Sky Patrol member, Altitude, also an outlier in terms of the colors. But what is cool about these guys is that, for the most part, apart from Skydive, have metallics. So I guess that ties them together as well. The foil parachute
kind of fun.
and then the golds and silvers. This guy is based on Slipstream's mold.
Hoogvlieger, high flyer. That's a cool
I
name.
also have this toy, and he is great. I'd say he's a B.
His weapon confused me in this picture. I was like, what the hell is that? And I couldn't answer you.
Barrel, and then there's like
Cobra Commander saw that. He's like, I want something similar.
It has a removable missile, doesn't it, Paul?
Yes, yeah. I also don't have the weapon, sadly. Or the helmet. No, I lie. I have the helmet
with very interesting, weird weapons. Except for Hoogvlieger, that's pretty cool. I'd probably give it a B2. I mean, yeah, he kind of like goes outside of the theme that I was going for in my understanding of Sky Patrol, but he looks like a cool figure.
Also, on your screen right now, put your thumb over his mouth. Like,
the artwork.
Now put your thumb over his eyes now. Doesn't from his nose down to his chin look a bit like Michael J. Fox? It looks a bit like Michael J. Fox.
Maybe a little bit.
In like Back to the Future. I think it's a wonderfully like rendered artwork, personally.
It is pretty good. Well, I mean, his face feels a bit squashy.
Yeah, but it looks good. I think it looks great, but he does look a bit like Michael J. Fox to me. Anyway, that's just
I would argue, Rob, that they have unhelmeted artworks of these guys, and that the helmet accessory was the last piece of the puzzle, and that was a paint over, and that would possibly explain why with what's his face, Airwave, we've got the unaltered, maskless, unhelmeted artwork. Whereas with the other guys...
They realized halfway through that they're like, wait a minute, these guys are Sky Patrol. They need helmets. Let's give them helmets.
Skydog just looks like he's holding in an epic... Like, he needs the toilet. He's like, oh my god.
Pirate.
They're going to call me Drop Zone.
So that the comments don't... feel the need to chime in on this point, but you're welcome to anyways. Just for the record, we've got Lift Tickets Body for Airborne, we've got Motor Viper for Drop Zone, we've got Gyro Viper for Skydive, Strato Viper for Airwave, Persuader for Static Line, and Slipstream for Altitude. And if you missed any of those growing up, well, I don't blame you, because I find this, as a repaint team, completely step outside of their source material. Like, they are unrecognizable in a sense. Even some non-aerial characters are integrated seamlessly. So it's cool.
Well, as seamlessly as a very eclectic sub-team can be.
Yeah, none of their equipment matches, but that's cool. They're all signature figures that are essentially Frank and Joe's. Bravo. Let's move on, boys. Here we go. It's S-tier time.
Oh yeah, it's S-tier time. Like, let's not fuck around.
No fucking around.
My first
let's not
Snake
mess around.
Eyes, he just comes with so much stuff. He looks cool. It's like they try something different from the first two looks of the character, or first two looks of the character, and they have leaned way more into the whole ninja thing. It's just perfect. Like, I don't think you can't go wrong with this character, this figure.
Well, then we don't need to praise the figure anymore. He's an automatic S. But let's talk about the photography here. They managed to cram all of his accessories into that picture. Were you disappointed when I think it's kind of wedged between the backpack and the figure's back.
That irritated the shit out of me as a kid. It irritates me now. I hate it.
Because you're seeing a little bit of the blade. But Paul, as someone who knows how these things are marketed now, you knew that they had to show off that it was a sword.
Of course.
They couldn't have it pushed all the way in.
Yeah, of course. And it was smart to show the trisectional staff, for example, because that doesn't make a lot of sense if you just see it folded up
on the ground
to somebody who's unfamiliar, Yeah. I mean, yes, this works. It's the design is well dressed, the function is well dressed up. It's just as a kid, it just used to drive me crazy because I always used to be like, but there is a place for the sword. So
yeah, it's where the blowgun is.
However, can you fit the blowgun? I wouldn't advise it now. It would probably stress those tabs. But did you guys ever slide the blowgun in there?
I don't think I ever tried to do that. The blowgun was just with him,
So with David's one, because I had also lost all my accessories and had 2 half snake eyes by the time I had this catalog. Thank you, Enrico.
Enrico.
The David's sword on his figure was already kind of broken, so he didn't really like me messing around with it. So I would never have tried it back then.
I wouldn't
don't know if
advise it.
did back. Yeah,
I guess is what I'm trying to demonstrate right now. I wouldn't advise it because
it would snap those things, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
get it through 2, but not the 3rd.
They must have been using some
made
glue
for
tape.
that. Or, as I said before, like the plastic was fresh back then. You could put some stress marks on it and it wouldn't snap.
Because if you look closely between his legs, you can see the bottom of the blowgun. So it is attached. It's definitely thrust through those little hoops.
But they probably have the backpack slightly offset. I feel like there's an angle going on there.
No, you can see it. It's good. It's okay. You can kind of see the top of it over his right shoulder. I don't think it's at that much of an angle.
It could be a bit. It could be a bit of lens distortion.
Points for getting all the accessories in there and keeping them semi-visible, even if they offend you now, Paul. Okay,
they offended
slightly
me then.
less stellar. Oh, they did that. Okay. Yeah. Very discerning child. Slightly less stellar recoil. Say something nice.
Oh, I love this toy.
Okay.
I think recoil is great.
Wow. His coloring is cool. It kind of all comes together, and then he has blue weapons. That's kind of like powder blue. I don't know why they decided to give him powder blue weapons. It's weird because all those other accessories all come together and they make sense with his color scheme. And then there's the color of the weapons.
I was thinking about this last night, and maybe it's because his weapons, at least in the artwork, are colored to look silver. So in plastic, why didn't they just go with silver weapons then?
Yeah, because they've done silver with other characters. Literally, there's one standing right next to him, Snake Eyes, who has silver weapons. It would be much better. But what's the coolest thing about this character is his names in other languages. Marathon. Shock.
You got shock. I love the gunchaku, man. As a kid, I could never figure out why he had like a film camera. Because to me, to my kid eyes, that looked like a TV camera or something.
Like a double lens camera. That's cool. He can get like 3D images going.
Exactly. I was like, but I mean, I didn't think like that. I was just like, because I was like, but it's got a handle, so it's not a backpack. What is it? Like maybe it's a camera. I don't know. It's just my kid brain worked it out like that.
I have one nice thing to say about the blue weapons, and that's try and give him grey weapons, and all of a sudden you're like, but the blue weapons are now his thing. When they made the modern era version of this and they did away with the blue weapons, I'm like, nah, you guys, you can't rewrite history. It would have been cool to change it back in 1988, 89 when this figure was being, ushered into the world.
We all know he has blue weapons.
Can't change it now. He's got to have blue weapons. He's got to have the bloody gun chucker. I love that.
That's why he's got blue weapons.
Yeah. So
honestly, that's why he's got blue weapons.
I think it's the very definition of a C-tier figure. Take it or leave it. But once you have it, his virtues really start to shine.
Agreed. Like I really love this figure, but I also feel it's a C.
Yeah,
high
C.
I would agree with that as well.
Yeah, he's an ecto cooler.
All right. Now, is this an automatic S? I want to hear the dissenting opinions first of Countdown.
Electronic. I think he's perfect, like for reals. Because like whereas like Deepsix, I think he's perfect for what he is, a deep sea diver guy. I could find more utility in a spacesuit man. Like I could have more fun, more varied fun with him. And his backpack is so cool, like you throw the little hook, you put it there, and he goes like.
Are they reaction control thrusters, or are they lasers, or are they both?
Both. You choose one of them is a laser, the other one's a reaction control thruster, so he just spins around.
Like some MBAC.
His gun is cool too. I mean, he's absolutely S. I love this.
Yeah, guys, I mean, let's not mess around. This is an S figure, but that card art, like it's both fascinating and repulsive at the same time. It's the weirdest thing for me.
It is weird.
Like, it looks like a one-eyed thing with a big smile. I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. It looks nothing like the toy. And I was like, thank God the toy looks better when I bought this toy, because I had the toy before the catalog. And guess what? Also, I had the upper torso of it still by the time I had this catalog. But yeah,
we've discussed about this artwork at length on the podcast before. But I just want to get your opinion on record now. Paul, you would be opposed to the figure helmet having extra paint apps to match the card art.
I can't remember what I said long ago, but I think it would make it interesting if they did. Yeah, like I think now it would be interesting, but I think old Paul is still right with that one. Like, I think it looks way more interesting as it currently is.
You don't have to go crazy with the paint application. I think it looks cool the way it is, and I love that it's a full helmet. Like, it goes to his shoulders. You know, it's not just a helmet; it's like fully on there. Like,
yeah, like Deepsix's helmet.
They could have given us an insight into his eyes in this artwork. Instead, they went with this totally anonymous, spooky-looking space creature.
That's so cool. It's such a cool detail.
It's the GI Joe astronaut and made him into an alien-looking thing. It's cool.
It's weird.
It's very cool in every aspect. And I remember losing the grapple and the sort of the weight early on, man. I could never do that Peter Pan action. The seesaw with the
Peter Pan
wheel.
action. Yes, because the Peter Pan figure had that.
Totally.
Cool
but
toy.
Electronic.
I have him complete now. He's my childhood one with accessories that
prepare
I purchased
for down count.
Yeah, brilliant. And what also is brilliant is this next guy called Scoop. Need we say anything? Rob, you can solo
this.
He's
an S tier figure. Well, I mean, as I've always said before, like, he was the most inoffensive character that my mom could find on the shelf. Like, she was like, he's a guy with a camera, and he just comes together nicely. Like, he looks the part of a field, reporter, or he records things. He looks great. He comes with a cool helmet, a little like mic on it. It just all comes together. Like, I think he's just perfect, and he comes with a gun. So that even when he isn't shooting, he's shooting. I can't say anything wrong about this guy. I know some people are like, "Oh, he's too yellow," but like, he isn't that yellow. He's not Lightfoot. He's reporter.
Hey, you know what? You don't have to explain it to people who don't get it, because the people who get it, we know. And Scoop is an S-class figure all the way. Great toy. As a kid, I was always fascinated by this, because I'd never seen him out in the wild personally, and I was like, wow, this is such a cool toy. Such a cool design.
I first encountered Scoop not with you, Rob. A friend of mine from preschool had him, and I was over at his place one day, produced this figure, and I was like, that's fascinating. I was obsessed with the fact that he had a camera on his chest. Like, my 4-year-old brain could interpret that. I was like, that's a camera. I've seen that. That's a, take pictures with that.
That's the thing I'm not allowed to touch.
Exactly. So it was weird to see a G.I. Joe figure with a camera on his chest. I mean, on his belly. Yeah. So much fascinating, so many fascinating little details in the sculpt. Yeah, really did step out of the norm and
well done.
Blew my mind.
And just enough paint apps as well to make him look interesting. The black, the green, and the orange. Yeah,
part of me is curious to see what more detail you could bring out with extra paint apps, but I think that would busy it up too much. I like the fact that all of his attached greeblies are black. It's a sensible color. It's not visually distracting. So
yeah, you don't have to go crazy.
3 colors, that's all you need for Scoop. And
that pop of red. Yeah.
I'm curious to get your opinion on the European exclusive Mutt and Junkyard.
Oh my goodness,
that looks like he's part of the Third Reich.
Did they lose the moustache? Tell me they lost the moustache.
It does look like it, doesn't it? And they lost the
muzzle. Yeah. At least in this picture. I think it did include the muzzle, but we never got
that's such an interesting locally. Piece. Guys, I have a complete Mandela effect on this figure. I don't remember ever looking at this ever on the catalog. I don't know why. It's like it's like in my memory, it's like it didn't exist. It's like a spot I've got absolutely no recollection of this.
It's interesting as well that they just call him Mutt. They don't call him Mutt and Junkyard. I think it's a decent character. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. He has the kind of like the blue accents from the picture of the figure.
I think this is a very attractive recolor, to be honest. Apart from the moustache being absent, at least in this picture.
It's weird.
Look, this is an anomaly because this is the only place this figure appeared for you and I, Rob. Like, we saw it in his catalog. We made fun of the name. We had a different language translation on ours. We had I'm going to say Spanish. So he was called Doberman in one of those languages. Doberman.
And it didn't help that the only episode of the cartoon we had him in it,
Oh, yeah. Well, that came later. That did come later.
That was
after the internet.
This is what we saw.
But only appeared to me later. Yeah.
Then why don't you rank this? Since this is a complete blank spot in your memory, rating him against what you know to be Mutton Junkyard, where would this guy? Is this guy better or worse than the actual coloring?
For me, he's kind of worse. He's like C. Like no, yeah, he's kind of a C for me personally. Okay. Like, it just. I'm actually still like kind of shell shocked by the fact that like this figure just all of a sudden appeared in my existence. Like,
this
I'm sure it's
is how you do Night Force right.
Yeah, that I can agree with.
This is like Night Force Mutt. It should be. I think it's a tasty figure. I'm gonna say, like, if I get the opportunity to pounce on this guy, I will. And I'm not a recolor kind of guy. This is the version
of Mutt and Junkyard I would want as well. I'd probably give it an A. I think it's excellent. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I'd absolutely go with an A for this guy.
What did you say, Paul?
He said a C.
I was like, I said C, yeah.
Because it's a blank spot. You can't even imagine owning this figure.
But Rob, what did you say? Rob, A.
Steve, I said A. I think I'd absolutely add this. Well, Steven's contemplating. Will he give it an A?
But I like to push things up the ranks. I think this is an A figure.
Definitely do. Okay. I think we have hardly any A's, actually, don't we?
If you're going to do a recolor of Mutt, this is how you do it right.
This is how you get it
It's an inspired color choice. Black on top, black on bottom, with like dark charcoal gray. Cool.
Well, it's just like I've always said, I think the recolor of Sneak Peek is way better than the original Sneak Peek. So, for those Sneak Peek fans. I really think that the Night Force version is way better.
However, this shows a bit of restraint that the Night Force didn't show, because Night Force Sneak Peek has still got like lime green pants. Just saying. This guy's got midnight blue, charcoal, and black. Love it.
It's sexy.
Viper.
Vuuradder.
This looks like my catalog because it's got the X on it.
Hey, Paul earned this.
Don't you just love that? A little sign of the times. Difficult. I had this as a child. I probably wouldn't prioritize it now. Like a Cobra, like anti-tank man, is useful, but it's a weird figure, man. Wow, very signature, very Cobra.
Yellow with the purple accent. He's got all those rockets on his thighs. It's cool that you can see them in the picture and that they're attached there.
An awkward weapon and a hose that is way too rigid to attach to the helmet nicely. I'm going to salute this catalog in getting all of his equipment like assembled and attached properly in the picture.
Yeah.
They do a good
without
job.
a stand.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's a C for me. Sorry, boys.
Oh, it's an A for me. I got 2.
Well, then Rob decides, is it a C or an A?
I'd actually probably go with A. I think because I've never owned him and he's always looked very interesting to me. Yes, he's cool because he's unique. Yes, he may be awkward, but he just looks very different from a lot of the other Vipers that we see in the catalog. Despite the kind of like weird coloring. But I think he's cool.
Does he sit ahead of Night Viper or behind?
Behind Night Viper, for sure.
Behind Night Viper.
Night Viper is way higher A.
Well, sticking with the night, We got Lowlight.
We got Obscure.
Now, in Europe, Lowlight was sold in the original coloring back in the sort of 88 series. And then by 91, it took on Slaughter's Marauders Lowlight, maybe Overstock, or maybe it was just the most popular of them. So they produced that colorway again. But yeah, this is how he was sold, and C tier for me.
The recoloring is ugh. Yeah.
As a kid, I remember the artwork always like pushing me over, like making me go, "Wow, this toy looks like."
Oh, the
this
artwork
toy looks cool.
very
Like,
cool. It comes together better in the artwork, but then you see the pants, and you're like,
exactly. That's the artwork sold me more than the figure, but then the artwork also reminded me of Peter Stuyvesant ads when I was a kid. I remember it reminded me of cigarette ads. I don't know why.
Lowlight would fall into
downhill skiing,
surfing, windsurfing, windsurfing, and what is the other one? The parachuting thing.
God, 80s was a time, man.
Oh, it was it. What a time, bro. 80s and early 90s, man. Or the 90s as well. But yeah, C tier for me as well. The catalog didn't like really sell this figure for me. And also Slaughter Marauders colors for me suck.
Good.
So
no thanks.
Is Stalker an A or an S?
Word. But face it on it, it's definitely an S.
Hey, and there's Backblast's bullet belt there in the artwork.
Now you see, that's what was going through my head. That was the skirt. Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
However, you try and get that thing into the cavity with a figure's leg in there. Yeah.
No,
it's tough.
But thank you for trying, Steve.
It was the mission of my childhood, let me tell you.
The fan base
and this Stalker,
you.
I still have this kayak. I have it with me here in Australia because I don't know. I have a thing about taking my childhood toys with me. But this Stalker got munched by the lawnmower. Rest in peace. My dad, unfortunately, produced the fragments after he'd run over it.
Sorry, my boy.
I kept those fragments for a long time in my drawer. I was like, one day I'll have the skill to make you whole again, Stalker. But no, man, he was absolutely shattered. It wasn't like he was just scarred. He was just white plastic fragments. Nah.
I'm slightly disturbed by how many times I've said this on this episode. But I also had this figure and lost most of its parts before I had this catalog. I still actually have the upper torso, literally the upper torso, like no arms, no head. I think somehow my dog was involved in some of this toy murder. There were other factors that I don't want to speak about on air that could have resulted in toys disappearing. But guys, it's all the way. This is
just a cool reason.
And I'm okay with like not being objective here at all. Like GI Joburg grew up with this version of Stalker. We loved this version of Stalker. This was how Stalker was presented to us, and I think it's very difficult for us to shake that. So,
I would definitely want to own this version. Kayak.
He's so badass, man.
He really since it is an S and is now the perfect toy, can you defend his? There's some weird sculpting and weird color.
Where?
You can't see it in this picture. So I guess in the rules of the game, if we judge these figures not on anecdotes, but actually on how they're presented in this piece of marketing, yeah, absolutely S.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing
you
weird
pull
about
his legs out and you wonder to yourself, is that mud? Or is it part of the camo? Because it seems to kind of be splattered. Camo, okay. Camo to look like a mud splatter. It's a strange... My adult brain kind of trips on that.
It's kind of like a Splinter kind of camo, or what are they? Chocolate chip? No, it's not chocolate chip.
Camo.
And I appreciate their boldness in using the mask in the marketing. I like that mask. Not everyone does.
I do too.
Yeah,
it's very.
If ever you've been doing some downhill in the cold, you want something to act as a windbreak. This guy's getting splashed. He's going down some rapids. Yeah, no, it's a sensible thing. I could have done with a paint operation on it. I mean, if Blizzard got blue,
It could have
surely
looked
Stalker
way cooler with some paint.
Yeah.
one little splash
totally.
of paint. So yes,
But maybe it's the type of plastic they use, because it's very rubbery plastic, isn't it? Paint probably wouldn't.
So was Blizzard's. But yeah, okay, let's spend no more time on this. This is an S figure. It's a deluxe figure. It came in at a carded
Came with a
price
bloody
point.
kayak. How cool is that?
It was a kayak.
So
I think
much
I
stuff
bought it
that
as a
not
kid.
everything is pictured. Like you can't see his rifle. Well, it sort of blends into the boat. It's on the
Yeah.
back deck.
I see.
Yeah.
You can barely make out the knife. So good. Euro Spirit.
Very interesting. It
Very
feels
sought after.
he feels less special when he's not in his original colors to me. It's a very cool color scheme.
The
It's
damn
something
tasteful
interesting
color
is
scheme.
going on there. It looks like he has like a red sash thing going on. You know, for that kind of like weird red stripe across his top that goes into the pants.
I would
It's
posit
interesting.
that this Spirit elevates him even further into the superhero category, along with Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Like Spirit isn't just boots on the ground, another one of the grunts. Because of his animal companion, and because he went toe to toe with Snake Eye, with Storm Shadow in the cartoon, he's now got a uniform to reflect his superhero-dom. Because like he was presented in a blue shirt and
Yeah, it's kind of very
they had
average.
fringing and tassels, and they were sort of very ethnic. But he had khaki pants essentially. Like his original presentation was quite plain Jane, whereas this is like Spirit is now this is his superhero suit.
Yeah,
I wonder-
it's a cool redesign for sure.
I would love. My rating here is going to be like, I love this design. I would love to have him, but I'm going to accept that I never will, because I think these fetch unbelievably high prices. Because they're not even like that much in the general GI Joe collecting consciousness. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that are gonna watch this video and be like, "Oh my god, that Spirit!" Like they didn't know about it. Yeah, so for me it's an A. Like it's like I would love to get it because I think it's a great figure. I just accept that I won't, at least not before buying a Lamborghini.
I'd probably give it an A too. I think it's a very cool. It makes him. Yeah, I think what you're saying is true. He feels more superheroic in this outfit. It's like more appropriate than just having him, in like jeans. Like
for me, it also makes him seem more like a hunter as well. And I wonder if there's any significance in that red striping on him. If I look into like Native American culture or Native American ideas, like or whatever, I wonder if there's something that will point us into the direction of that design choice.
Imagine if he wasn't wearing a shirt or slacks, and he was just wearing his kind of his I don't know, what this they call it a medicine bag, I think.
Yeah.
But just the additional strap thing, like a loincloth, and this is like war paint across his body.
That would look amazing.
There's the inspiration.
Cool.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it really brings it out as well, because that's a specific paint app that they did there. It doesn't match the sculpting. It's just like on purposefully they've made it look like that. And red suits him a lot.
I wasn't a fan of this until you guys started praising it, and I think the fact that it's a repaint that still observes the sculpted details and picks them out in a different color even improves upon the original, because the original didn't. I don't think the grenades were picked out in a different color. They were still the pale blue shirt color, which is a sad bit of budget cut in what should have been like an early figure, and still have the money. So this is in some ways an improvement on the original. Power to it. Nice.
Oh yeah.
A tier. S tier. Throw it out. Sorry.
Absolutely. There's no objectivity, but even objectively, he's an awesome figure.
I had this figure before I had this catalog, so it was already moot for me. But if I was to hone in on some positives, how amazing is that portrait? That
yes.
So good.
This catalog made me want this figure.
And particularly this crop of the figure. Sometimes there's some weirdness when you look at the lower half of the artwork. So seeing the full
I was going
artwork
to say
for
that
a lot
earlier.
of these is strange. But seeing this crop, so good. The eyes.
Much intensity.
Sells it so well.
Not that there's anything wrong with Scoop's card art, mind you, but the crop of Scoop's card art definitely makes him a more hardcore and intense figure. And so the shockwave, like, there you go. So like it adds a lot more intensity to him. So
sure.
as a kid,
seeing kind of like crouched
exactly,
down.
and having never like seen this as a kid, that always fascinated, that intensity. It wouldn't have put me off.
It's nice to see the eyes in the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
You get robbed of that with the limitations of the action figure at the time. So in Scoop's case, the artwork gives you the eyes and the helmet. It's a good combination.
Yeah, it was a good choice on the part of the designers of the catalog. I mean, yeah.
With Shockwave, you got both. You got the eyes are visible in the figure's sculpt, so it's
Schokholf.
Perfection.
So I'm so glad that they didn't show Shockwave's knife in the catalog shot. It's something that we all appreciate now. I think as a kid, had I seen that giant knife, I would have been like, it would have weirded me out a little. Like now I'm all about it. Now I think it's like a freaking amazing idea. But this toy, it was a masked. Back then, I was very fascinated by ninjas. I'm sure many of us were, and a figure with a mask on that was interesting to me. And also, I didn't know what the hell SWAT team was, so like he kind of looked like something like some kind of special forces or anything to me. So like I thought, okay, he's like some kind of like deep jungle killer or something.
This is too cool.
He's too cool.
Shockwave's great, and I love that camera. Paul, you're saying that they didn't have the knife in the picture, but the knife is in the sheath. You can see the handle of it,
but it's not out. It's not like it doesn't look like a sword.
I can't think it is.
Yeah,
the posing game was definitely shining when they posed Shockwave because they showed the restraint to not have him like holding both guns. They've got the stock tucked, which is a rare and wonderful thing. Okay, he is holding it in his left, which I suppose he's ambidextrous because he holsters his pistols on both sides. So yeah, maybe he's switched to left. But yeah, they didn't fuck up basically when they posed Shockwave, and it's nice. He's taking a knee. Good. He looks good, brothers. He looks very good. Yeah, and they didn't feel the need to put his pistol in the picture. I mean, this is a victim of, unfortunately, being on the seam, on the fold line. But I don't think he's holding his pistol in his right hand. I think he's just cradling his submachine gun. Yeah, magnificent all round. If I wasn't a fan of this figure before I had this catalog, the catalog would have definitely pushed it over the edge.
He sells it.
Norgahide is a bit of a contentious one. Can you guys think of what he's missing in this picture? Which accessory does he not display at all?
Bow.
Go. Wow. Something had to give, right? He's got way too many accessories. I mean, I wasn't complaining, but like there's a lot to this figure, and I made the mistake of lumping him in the same category as Taurus, but this is way more deluxe than Taurus.
Oh yeah, totally, dude. Norgahide's great. I didn't. David had this figure.
Gun, knife, machete, quiver, bow. It's a lot of stuff. Hat.
They had to give him a lot of stuff because of that outfit he's wearing.
He's just like too cool, man. Like I don't know what it is about this toy that I love so much. I think the thing that turned me onto this toy was the clip-on machete, which you don't really fully appreciate that, but you do see a bit of it in this catalog. Like you kind of go, okay, the knife is on his wrist. And thankfully, I had seen the toy before I saw the catalog because David had it. And this toy was like the great unplayable one. Like if David ever let me play with this toy, he took the knife out and the wrist machete because he was scared of them breaking or being lost or whatever. I was much younger than that. So yeah, he was smart. Then he lost everything in one shot somehow. I don't know. But anyway. Love you, Dave.
But at least he lost. It's on him.
For me, I feel this is an A figure. You have to have Norgahide. He's just... There's too much to him that's just worth having. And as a kid, I wanted him because I think he looks cool. But I never poured over this figure on the catalog that much because David had him. I didn't have to. Anyway, sorry, guys. Yeah.
Well, he certainly stands out. You know, I mean, the kind of like the cheetah top he has on, his jeans, his pig, and all those accessories. But yeah, for me, I've never really a huge fan of Dreadnoks and kind of like the weirder looking dude. So for me, unfortunately, I can appreciate that he looks cool, but for me, he's a C.
He wasn't marketed as a Dreadnok. If you didn't read the file card, you would never have known. It didn't say Dreadnok on his pod.
I know for sure, but you look at him and you're like, he's too casual to be, a Viper, and he looks too, I don't know, evil to be a Joe, so he must be a Dreadnok.
I didn't know what to do with him, so I never bothered to buy him. He's a... The accessories are excellent.
Is he an A or a C? You gotta choose, Stephen.
He's a C. I'm indifferent to Norgahide, which is unfortunate because I think if I ever featured him in a play motion and made him a token South African or maybe ex-Rhodesian, that would elevate him. He's got a lot of intrigue, but man, he's just not my flavor at all.
I'd like a tall glass of Mazoe.
So he's a C with aspirations of being an A.
He's going back to the jungle.
But yes, I mean, there's a lot to praise about this figure. Just not my flavor.
Hey, yes. It's in the name.
A?
Incredible. Bliksem skit.
What? No, S.
S.
What are you talking about? A. This is like my must-have figure. This is wonderful. Look at him. And the catalog's even
fantastic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Look at him trying to draw a bow while having his claws on. Hey.
However, they do have him drawing the bow in the correct hand. A lot of people get that wrong. They always automatically clip it into his right fist, whereas this is correct.
Totally wrong.
And it even looks weird because he has got his hand.
He's like, he's drawing the string a bit. It's cool.
He's cool ready to draw.
And also, this crop of Storm Shadow, like on the catalog, is amazing.
This is what I spoke about with weird legs. Yeah, he's
the weird legs.
Weirdly. So yeah, this is the best image of that Storm Shadow.
Bliksem skit is definitely S for sure.
Bliksem skit. Bliksem skit.
For the longest time, I wondered if that was a gloved hand drawing the bow. That he had Annihilator syndrome of because it's very orange. His skin tone is very tan. Yeah, that one. Which also brings into question the legitimacy of the tattoo. Like, was that a design on the glove? No, we know in later life that it's
an actual tattoo.
An actual tattoo, but like these are misconceptions that plagued me as a child. I was like, is that a glove?
So one of the things that's causing a lot of issue here is that obviously these portraits, these mugshots, don't have the explosion behind them, and so when these artists, either the artists did it or when they took photographs of the paintings, they color corrected it in the lab. And I think they made them purposely try to make some of the oranges and reds more orangey because of the explosion background.
Because of the explosion,
so that it harmonized. Yeah,
so that you remove it, then it looks wrong.
There you go. Because the thing is, when there you go. Like, it looks more correct because color is contextual. Okay, so that's why nobody can tell you what skin color is. You know, if you try to have like a paint for skin color, you'll never have that because it's contextual. So the thing here is, I think that's exactly it. And because it's on the white background, it's definitely pushing that whole yellowness and the orangeness of the coloring there, which is creating the Annihilator effect, as Steve has so wonderfully coined it.
This guy is an S, but I am going to enter one further criticism, and it's not the red sword. I can take the red sword.
It's the red backpack.
I've never liked the way his sleeves are handled on the action figure.
Okay. Oh, with like rolled up sleeves or what?
No, I think I know. I've got a feeling I think I know what it is. It's that weird cleft. It's like they defy gravity. You know? They're like with the sleeves.
There was no way around it. you were not going to get a sculpt piece that kind of enveloped slightly what the arm is doing. So it's a difficult thing for an action figure of the era within its limitations to achieve. And I guess I praise this figure for attempting it.
Yeah.
They
did the
tried
best they
something
could
different. They
to
Storm Shadow in an interesting way.
Yeah, no, it's cool, man. And once again, I'm glad it shows restraint in that, and it's probably a budget thing, but like they didn't go to town with different colors on the torso. I like the fact that the rope is the same color as the digital camo, or the attempted urban digital camo.
Yeah, sometimes they did really well with the limited colors that they chose to use. You know.
And the pop of red that the original had in the form of the Cobra symbol has migrated to his forearm, which is a lovely, like, thematic thing. So yeah, this is an S figure all the way, baby.
All the
Is
way.
this an F figure, though?
Amply. Disc jockey.
F in the bin for me. What say you, Vince?
C for me.
Wow. I agree. Like, I just want to own him because he's part of 1989. That's really the only reason to be able to complete it. But otherwise,
it's weird, man.
So weird. It's not even like Battle Force 2000 weird. It's just what is going on.
It is Battle Force 2000 weird, let's be fair. Also, the backpack, to my eye, looks wrong in the catalog shot.
Yes.
I always feel like the pointy bit should be up.
Yeah. It is. You look at the artwork, the pointy bit is up. But however, with the action figure, the pointy bit being up would push it way past the head. So I think they made a tasteful decision by
to keep it
putting
like
it upside down.
What can you really do with a guy who's got blue, grey, white, green on him, a red weapon, and then a blue backpack? It's like you can't win. You cannot win.
All right,
that was the only
this
thing
guy
they
is
thought
going
to make
in
it
C, with my dissenting opinion being he's an F. However,
no, I said he's F, dude.
Oh, he's F. Bin him.
I said F. The only reason I would get him is to complete 1989. But from this catalog, I would not buy this figure.
He is boring in the catalog.
Guys, we need to just remind ourselves of one amazing thing. Whoops, not that. Not that either. That. His moment. His greatest moment.
In the catalog, yeah.
Yeah.
That fabulous weapon of his.
Moment.
This is DJ's greatest moment. I mean, he is introduced in the comic book and died in the very same issue. So this guy was just never destined for greatness. But that weapon...
But on the cover art of the catalog, he looks badass.
Amazing. Rock and roll's like,
at least
you can handle this, DJ.
Got this.
Yeah, like DJ's actually shooting the hiss. Yeah, like he's actually hitting the hiss. What's the Ali Viper shooting? Shooting nothing. He's missing. Screw you, Ali Viper.
Panicking, man. He's like, I don't know what the fuck that thing is, but it's about to obliterate my armor.
He's blasting music. He's shooting at me. What's this guy doing?
Why is he playing Euro trash?
You don't like my beats?
Amazing.
I send you to the grave.
Toxo Viper. But yes, DJ is our second. DJ is our second F tier, along with Spearhead.
I love it. This guy. He looks like a Mars character, but in like a bad way. I don't know.
Like a bad guy
Mars character
from Mars
as well.
Like an evil Mars character,
like Venom. Miles Mayhem in the bunch.
He's got so much coloring going on. Yeah, he's like Venom. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want
on. Like, where does it shoot? Does it shoot out the mouth holes or that thing on the top?
Everywhere. It shoots out the hoses on his backpack.
Guys, as a kid, this catalog image fascinated me. I was so intrigued by this figure that I just had to get one. And thankfully, many years later, I would in a lot. Had I not gotten this figure in a lot, I would have still sorted out. Like, Like, and
Check
I
out
had
the artwork diminishes the sort of the view visor and pushes it
so
way
cool.
down. Like, once again, this doesn't seem like a human head could be in there. Fortunately, the action figure allows a human head to be in there and kind of explains it better. But the artwork makes this big bulbous.
It's really squashed down.
It's monstrous, and his
I also love
body looks big and like stretched out muscle even under this bulky suit.
Also, like, I dig the artwork being a green helmet fully, and the toy having that like sort of goldish touch or that bronzish kind of touch to it. I always see it as bronze
touch.
The shit brown.
It does elevate. It does do a lot for the sculpt because there's a lot of interesting detail there, and the brown thankfully brings it out.
This is then the opposite of Countdown, where you like that they've added extra coloring to the figure.
Yeah. Because I think it would have been lost, and it would have made him look very like too homogenous,
too blocky, like
shape.
the artwork. His gun, I've never liked his gun because once again, it's one of those guns that they overused in the 90s. On those, every other character had the gun. I don't know what to do with this character. For me, I'm gonna say he's a C. Like I've never wanted this guy. He looks interesting, but yeah, he's not something that I want, unfortunately.
I always wanted him for my bug. So.
Just shove him into a vehicle and never look at him again.
Not that. I just think he would have just been cool on my bug. I was like really desperate for like cool guys to go on my bug when I was a kid because I had the bug, but I had mostly broken and disappeared Joes. Spirited
Did
away
they
Joes.
snap one of the canisters, the one behind his back, and attach a hose pipe to that? Because they've erroneously got 2 hose pipes. The figure only came with one, if I recall correctly, and it only had one place to plug it.
Does he have 2, or was it just looped? Has it just looped behind his head?
Oh, okay.
Could be that,
right.
yeah.
But
I think they've just
does create an interesting silhouette.
It does look like there's 2, though. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Also,
gosh, it's a really long hose then.
He's got a long hose.
I'm gonna give this guy a.
When in doubt.
C.
Oh wow. Okay, CC, and I think Paul gives it a B.
Yeah, you're right. I pined for it as a kid. I'm glad I got it as an adult, but I don't feel like it's you have to go and get your hands on it. I think it's a cool
there we
toy
go.
to have.
He falls into the sea.
Into the sea with you, Gevader.
Now is this guy an A, B, or an S? I still haven't made up my mind.
It's crazy because to me, like, this was rock and roll. Like growing up, this Stephen had rock and roll. This was him. He had these absolutely insane weapons. It's just such a cool setup. It's crazy. He's double wielding these gigantic things, and it's got the cool things that connect to the backpack. Which is the backpack supposed to be that way around? I don't know. The way I always put it on was the other way around.
Me too.
As a child, I put it this way around because of this image.
I was going to say
it's supposed to be, but as an adult, I found the strongest presentation of this figure is correct. To have the bullet feed coming off the bottom, and only have one of those Gatling guns because
it's too much, but it's too much in a good way.
I agree with that. So Dave had this guy, and we had this catalog, and because of this catalog image, that's always how I did this. But then at the same time, I think one of these was broken. One of David's ones was broken, like the one piece of plastic or something was snapped, whatever. Anyway, this was... I didn't used to pour over this image too much as a kid either, though, because we had the figure at hand. And guys, I'm going to call it... I'm not going to call it, but for me, this is an S. I feel like he's such a must-have figure. Great accessory, great sculpt.
Yeah, for me, he is this is rock and roll. And it's got a cool color scheme. It all comes together. He looks like a proper soldier. There's not like extra colors that are unnecessary. His accessories are cool colored. I'd give us an S2 actually, for sure. Like, this is rock and roll when I think of rock and roll.
I had it as a child, so I never had to pine for it. But if it's a testimony that I have it currently with me, my childhood one in Australia, it made the trip. That is high praise indeed. This is an S. I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
And it's
who's
he came with so many accessories that you can easily kind of subtract and him not feel
He would
impoverished.
still be cool. Yeah.
He's commando style sneaking
choose.
through with just the lever action rifle. He can be wielding just one of those hogs, or he can be doing this, which also, like, because the bullet belt wasn't, it was not rigid, but it wasn't the most flexible rubber. It would kind of kick out his elbows a little bit.
Yeah,
It'd be hard to kind of restrain them, work those lats.
Also, the bonus of it being a video game character as well.
Oh, and the best. Like, that gun could just wipe out a boss quickly.
Wipe out.
Guys, we're into the home stretch, and it's a highlight time because it's time for Tiger Force.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we should set up a different tier list for these guys in themselves. I think they're all over the map.
Dude, I know, like, if you see my version of this catalog, it's got X's all over it. Like, I was so fascinated by these guys as a kid, as we all know. And then I forgot old Hit and Run existed. And I like this Hit and Run a lot. I would really love this figure. It's not S, it's definitely A for me. But
I think it's cool that there's a version of Hit and Run where his entire outfit is not that camouflage. You know, it's cool that he is completely camouflaged, but it makes him look very unique. But it's interesting that we have this version of him where you can kind of like see his face. And the color scheme does work for Tiger Force. I think, you know, the blue, and then I think it works. I think it's pretty decent.
It occurred to me it's the same green and brown camo pants that Outback has. Not the same sculpt. It's still Hit and Run sculpt, but I think they might have used the same pot of paint for those camo splotches, which is a nice tie-in.
Yeah, I think overall Tiger Force in general, they did a better job of tying in the theme of what they're trying to go for than, say, for
this is Euro Tiger Force. So this is crazy.
Did you guys ever see this Hit and Run at retail?
No.
I don't remember seeing it at all.
I remember Outback and I remember Psych Out, which leads me to believe that maybe the others sold better in the other territories.
Yeah, there were no leftovers to come here.
So is Hit and Run, is he an A or a B or is it S? What are we doing?
I think he's an A.
I give him a B. I think he's really cool, but he's not like excellent to me. Like, I still the blue is still a bit off-putting.
He's living in the shadow.
I just like the tiger striped helmet.
That is
tasty. I mean, Paul, you're going to betray your Tiger Force love at every turn. But I'm going to go with you, Rob. This isn't an essential figure for me. It's nice, but version 1 is numero uno. This is also the era of the European artworks doing away with the obvious weapons in the artworks. So you notice that they removed the grenades. And if we had a wider crop, you would see that he's not holding his machine gun. He's holding the rope.
Poor Gimp. No weapons.
Got gimped. Does Sneak Peek fare better than Hit and Run? Is he an A, a B?
Hit and Run? Will he infiltrant the A ranks?
With his jeans and his tiger shirt.
Did they do like a tie-dye? Is that a swirly blue plastic for the jeans?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just blue.
Yeah, I think it's just plain blue. It looks cooler like this, actually. I think the blue with him is less offensive because it's the pants, for me at least. I like that they did swap it around, like the grey top and the blue pants.
I also like the tiger crotch area.
Oh,
yeah, he's ready to party.
He loves the tiger. I think this is a cool repaint of Sneak Peek. I think still, for me at least, the Night Force Sneak Peek is a superior Sneak Peek. But I do like this more than the original.
Wow. Okay.
I'd probably give this an A. I think this version would be a cool addition to any Tiger Force.
Guys, you know what I'm going to give it?
Absolutely.
It's
You're going to give it an S.
It's an A.
Right.
No, it's not an S. It's not S. I'd love it. I don't think it's quite special enough for me to be an S, but it's definitely an A. Like one day it will hopefully come my way and I will have the means to get it. Or the person selling it will be desperate enough to take a low offer.
I like the fact that the goggles are picked out in a different color. That's kind of holding consistent with his previous versions, but I think it's silver.
It does look silver to me.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Very
it's
nice.
A nice
And
accent.
confirmed, it's a pale blue sculpt. It's not a swirly white blue. They hadn't started experimenting with that just yet.
Ah.
But it
I
does
also
look
love
like
the
denim.
setup here. Yeah.
It does make it look more like denim.
The setup is so cool. This.
And the card art is a repaint. You know, they once again, he's not holding his weapon like offensively. He's just kind of hand carrying it. Actually, it's on the strap. It's around the back. That's what they did for this one. So it's interesting to see different card art. Paul, as an artist, what would you say, like relative to the classics? I mean, it feels like it's a lot thicker.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, I was looking at it now and I'm like, the gouache used, it's definitely gouache. I feel like it's gouache, but everything from the neck down definitely feels a bit more intense than from the neck up. It's the weirdest thing.
I like how it's consistent. Like this art is all new for all of the Tiger Force guys. They didn't just paint over.
It's nice intensity in that shot. I think they very much did paint over, but they did it in a nice way. Yeah,
paint over and then delete things, because once again, Tunnel Rat has not got a machine gun. He's got his flashlight in hand.
See, for me, this Tunnel Rat is a C. I don't love this colorway. This is the one Tunnel Rat colorway I don't like, and the one Tiger, one of the few Tiger Force
and it's
things.
like, how is he a Tiger Force dude? Oh, he's got a bandana on, and then he's got kind of his jeans got like rips in it. I think, of all of the Tiger Force figures, this is probably the weakest. I probably agree with the C. I don't have to own him, but I don't think he's an F. I wouldn't throw him in the garbage.
No. I think if you're a little bit colorblind, and I don't mean this as an insulting thing or whatever, but I think if you're colorblind, you might find that the red and the blues work together better. Because I do like the camo on the face. I do like the tiger stripes on the bandana, and I do like tiger stripes in the pants. I just don't like the red. The red shirt's just silly. Just give him, if they'd given him an orange shirt or a white shirt with like black stripes on it, I think that would have been interesting. Or green stripes or orange stripes. Literally anything other than red. Oh my god. Like, it's horrible on him. And the yellow scarf, no.
Well, Fun School did him good in red.
Yeah, I think Fun School did do him better in red, actually. And it's not like
I prefer the deeper red of the Hasbro version, Hasbro UK version.
How dare you?
I don't know. I think this is a fun figure. I mean, if you're definitely wanting to go balls to the wall with Tiger Force, this guy's leading the charge, along with Mr. Tiger Force himself, Captain Tiger Force.
Do we need to say anything?
Oh God amongst men, this guy, jeepers. He adds something to the myth that is Outback. I mean, you either were, if you were a fan of original Outback, then he had a lot of impact for you. If you weren't necessarily a fan of original Outback, this character didn't land. And he certainly didn't land for me until this. The white hair asks all the questions that I'm burning to have answers to. Who is this guy? How is he a Joe? Why does he look so world-weary and haggard? Like,
Grizzled.
He's seen some shit, man. He is in an elite team of Joes. He is even more veteran, more seasoned, and he's like, "Come here, Sonny. I'm gonna show you." My words even fail me at this point. I'm gonna show you some shit. This guy's story to tell. And it's one hell of a
He has so much personality. It's perfect. I mean, it's so cool that they didn't just give him tiger stripes, they literally put a tiger on his shirt.
He's the boss. He's the boss.
Yeah. De facto. Duke might be part of Tiger Force, Flint might be part of Tiger Force, but Outback is Tiger Force.
He is Tiger Force S all the way. Absolutely.
S tier. Yeah.
It just all comes together. It's great that there's no blues. There's no like erroneous. I mean, okay, they have the blue on the bandana, but it's not overpowering, and there's no like weird red going on.
Just right.
And this
He's
design
got the pants on, and he has a cool shirt.
This design has been an outlier for the majority of Joe fans, and Classified has now really put him on the map, because how many people now make the Classified Tiger Force Outback their primary Outback? He has defied a lot of people's reclassification. Yeah. In much the same way he did it for me. And like when I saw the original Outback, I was like, this is an imposter. The real Outback is way cooler.
How did he age so quickly? What the hell does he see in the 20s hair white?
This is Outback. Fight me on that. But like to someone who didn't come up. Yeah.
The red-bearded one is Sartan in disguise.
He's this young man from Nam.
Young man
from 20 years ago.
Snake.
All right. Home stretch, boys.
Oh, yeah.
We had the origins of sandboarding with Muskrat. Now we've got the origins of sand skiing. Is that even a thing?
Guys, this is my first exposure to Blizzard. Okay.
Weird.
For all intents and purposes,
the original Blizzard.
I never saw him. I never saw him, and I didn't see him I don't recall seeing him in a catalog. This was Blizzard for me. This was like, I was like, okay, yeah, I can dig that. He's a snow skiing guy. Cool. I mean, a sand skier. Cool.
I love that, like in the artwork, it feels like he's wearing it's almost like he's wearing a tiger helmet. Like you could see him almost like add ears to it because of like the weird like nose thing going on there. He's like, I am Tiger Force. It's such a weird choice to add the snow guy and make him completely in yellow, but somehow it works. It's weird. I don't understand it.
And it's also like how broken are our brains, because we look at this and we don't think, oh, he can just like be in the snow. But we immediately think, no, he's yellow, he's sand skiing. That's his thing now. Yeah, he's all about that sand. Also, I was always intrigued by the handlebars on his backpack. I never knew what that was about as a kid. I was like, what is this? Blizzard is fascinating.
I don't get it either. He is.
I
think, yeah. Oh, and they're back to half putting the helmet on. So you can
that's just huge disservice to this figure. And if my memory serves, in previous year's catalog, the 1990, when they were promoting original Blizzard, they also didn't put the helmet down properly. It just gives them this very bulbous. It doesn't help the figure. I'm thinking about it now, but if you take the guns out of his hands, as they handsomely do, or at least he's not aiming the gun in the European re-artwork. He's like holding it. But if you make this guy more of a rescue trooper, like Snow Patrol, that's when the bright colors come in. And the sled becomes useful because you would put an injured Joe prone on the sled and sled him back to
it makes perfect sense. I'm gonna give him I think it's really cool. I'm gonna give him a B. I think it's really cool, but I don't think it's excellent. I think it's a good recoloring, and I like the lore that we're adding to it, that a rescue man.
I still find this figure to be such a mystery to me that it is on my A list, because I find it so intriguing. I don't know if it's even that good a figure, but maybe it's just that little strip of tiger stripe down the middle with the promise of a tiger striped hoodie. It goes over, and it's just fascinating. It's just also, I don't think I'll ever have this figure unless somebody, like I said, is really desperate and they're going to sell it to me for really cheap. I don't think I'll have this toy, but it's nice to imagine what it's like in the catalog. So an A.
Snowstorm, is your A or B?
I'm gonna it's just so much weirdness. I'm indifferent to this figure, so in my heart of hearts, I have to give him a C, which means that you, Rob, have to decide whether this guy goes A.
No, I gave it a B, my dude.
Yeah, but you are the middle vote.
Oh, the middle vote.
I'm C. Paul's A. You either pull him up or pull him down.
I see. Ooh.
Just remember, if you pull him down, you might affect eBay prices in a good way.
Interesting.
Pressure.
Okay.
Pressure.
Do I personally want to own this figure? I think it's interesting. He's weird, but do I want a yellow man on my shelf? I don't. Not so much. I'm not going to throw him in the bin, but I would pick another figure before I pick this guy. Sorry, Paul. Or maybe not. Maybe
no worries.
Prices are going to go down now.
And the final figure to round out this tier list is none other than
Psycho.
Psychopath.
Forgive me, the hour is late or early.
The original Psychopath is such a great toy. I think he's great. I love that toy. I think he's so nice. I have him twice. I just actually have him twice accidentally, but it's a cool toy. Guys, this toy is very special to me because Steve, you helped me get my hands on him for a very good price online, and I think that this is like the best version of Psychopath. To be fair,
wow.
He's just so great.
If your job is psychological warfare, why wouldn't you wear something ferocious?
Yeah, exactly.
He's not supposed to be hunkered down in a jungle trail. This guy is psyops. This guy is fucking with your mind, man.
Yeah, he's out front, singing songs and throwing frisbees at you, confusing you. And he fits really well with what has been established with Tiger Force. And once again, blue works better. He's throwing little frisbees at you. He's like, meow, 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 meow. I'm a kitty cat.
I don't know why I find that so funny. Anyway, carry on.
Frisbees. Oh, God.
I think, once again, like, the color scheme works if you have to have blue pants. Like, it works better than having a blue top with, like, orange pants or whatever.
Agreed. And that's his real life fashion advice. I'll have you all know. Carry on.
Guys, it just occurred to me, those things on his arms, those are proto Beyblades. Those are Beyblade launchers. It's a spinning top. That's what those are.
Can't believe
that's
Beyblades
even better than frisbees. He's out on the battlefield spinning these things. He's like, wow, my one will be yours. Meow, meow, meow.
So the question then becomes,
I think he's fun. He's fun.
Okay. Paul, for you, would he be an S though?
Would he be an S?
To solo this list.
If I had to solo this list, yes, he's an S. He's the best version of Psychopath. He's a really amazing Tiger Force iteration. He's probably one of the best versions of best Tiger Force figures. Yeah, he's totally an S.
He has something in common with DJ. Got the white boots going on.
He's better than DJ.
But it works. It just works. Doesn't look naff. The original of this has got, like, to my eye, like, not my favorite green. And the original, like, that green always puts me off.
Putting it mildly. Have you ever encountered the Night Force version?
No, actually. I need to.
It is excellent. Night Force and recolors in general typically lost the tempos and then, like, the detail elements. But Night Force Psychopath retains it. He's got all the detail of the original, but in an amazing palette. This charcoal grey top. His hair color is brown, which is far less garish than the blonde. But this ain't bad, man. This is the rare case of a character not only changing his hair color once, but changing it twice.
Psychopath keeps you on your toes.
That hair's just gonna fall out, man. You can do this with it. Too much color.
So, Stephen, S or B? Where are you going? You S or B?
Well, if I have to choose one, it's B. Sorry, Paul. I mean, yeah, he's a special figure for you, and that's awesome. But he's not an essential for me. I would probably go a little lower. to be honest.
Whoa.
But let's end on a slightly high
I think
note.
I would. Yeah, I would get him. I think he's kind of cool. Definitely better than the original.
He's also the least expensive of the Euro Tiger Force. So.
Not anymore.
GI Joburg strikes again. Guys,
but yes, he is.
An absolute gas. Any closing remarks on things that happened? Spearhead and DJ are our solitary binned figures. And then in the S tier, we've got Target, Alley Viper, Snake Eyes, Countdown, Scoop, Stalker, Shockwave, Storm Shadow, Rock and Roll, and Outback Tiger Force. So it's heavily weighted
It's
towards
definitely nostalgia
pleasers.
as well as it's crowd pleasers, but also it's our list. I mean, I think some of those figures would not have got up there.
And it is also
other people doing this thing, and it does reflect who we are and who we enjoy as characters from this catalog.
I mean, and it's also like, there's a limited gamut, so to speak, of figures on this catalog. I mean, there's a whole bunch of GI Joe
there's like
according
42
to this
figures, my dude. There's 42.
But that's the thing. According to this catalog, like at least in my mind, this was pretty much every single GI Joe figure when I was a kid. This is like how I saw this catalog. It was that special for me. It was like, wow, what other GI Joes are there? Like this was it. So later on, when I saw other catalogs where I saw characters like Raptor, I was like, where did he come from? That kind of thing.
He's not in the original catalog.
So this is, I think we got like the best toys. Like I think we got the best toys for S Class in this thing. And also I think maybe it's worth saying, but Steve, did you get this catalog from your Warthog or your Bug?
It would have been the Bug, because the Warthog came with the 1990 catalog.
That's
because
right.
It had the blueprints on the one side and the GI Joe, the Action Force, on the other side.
That's right. Yes.
I had these both at similar times, but I remember seeing a lot of the figures before getting either catalog. The catalogs just showed me what else I should be on the lookout for. So I hope we've kind of made that distinction clear in this episode, that some of these we were judging purely on their appearances in the catalogs. Some of these we had actual physical experience with before the catalog. But many mysteries have been unpacked. Misconceptions that we had, and that will continue in part 2 when we get into the vehicles, baby.
They're vehicles? Oh my goodness.
Vehicles. Those vehicles, baby. Maybe they're in there.
Winnervy on you.
Some of them might be behind Paul. Some of them might be in other places. Who knows? This has been awesome. Thank you for joining us and sticking with us for almost 3 hours.
3 hours for this mega episode.
Let us know your disagreements, your agreements. Just say something to us. We'd absolutely
comments.
love to hear it.
And tier lists is something that other people have been doing. Other people have been doing tier lists for some time now. This is a GI Joburg first. We decided to go with something very particular to us, but we are more than happy to do tier lists of other kind of slants.
If you have suggestions, please give us suggestions. Otherwise, we'll just keep doing 1991 over and over again. Forever.
But I've been Steve.
And I've been Paul. And this
Robert.
guy.
That's me, Rob.
We are GI Joburg, and we are out, baby. Yojo.
Ninja Kick!
Bird.